Chapter 274. Su Shan's reaction speed is so fast. Ning Yu's heart trembled. He felt that he might have underestimated Su Shan. Just from this reaction speed, Su Shan's soul power had not just reached grade 4, but had long reached grade 4, or even advanced grade 4. His martial cultivation had reached the peak of the true martial realm, and the strength of his soul power had also reached advanced grade 4. Terrifying was the most appropriate word to describe it. Not good. Xikong Ling's expression changed drastically when his fist was caught by Su Shan. Pucci. However, before Xikong Ling could respond, Su Shan raised his right leg and kicked him in the chest. A fishy sweetness came from his throat, causing Xikong Ling to spit out a mouthful of blood. His face was extremely pale. Boring. Rubbing his palm, Su Shan said indifferently, "There's not even a single martial artist who can make me use half of my strength." Subsequently, Su Shan's gaze swept across the remaining 7 true martial realm martial artists and arrogantly said, "Vice Dean Fong, this is too slow. Why don't we fight together in 2 or 3? Su Shan's arrogant performance caused the remaining martial artists to have ugly expressions. No matter how strong you are, you shouldn't be so arrogant, right? Next, Ning Yu. Fong Yuanzi acted as if he did not hear Su Shan's words and continued. Wait. However, just as Ning Yu was about to fight, Su Shan waved his hand and said, "Vice Dean Fong, let Ning Yu stay for the last one." Stay for the last one? Why? Fong Yuanzi asked doubtfully. Haha, in my opinion, Ning Yu is the strongest among these martial artists. I want to be the last one to fight him. Su Shan smiled. What's your intention? Not only did Su Shan's undisguised praise not make Ning Yu happy, it caused his expression to become serious instead. Unless Su Shan knew him, there was no meaning in his actions. Could it be that someone is instructing Su Shan from behind? Ning Yu frowned as he thought of this possibility. But very quickly, he felt that it was impossible. The only people who were his enemies in the capital were Wen Yi and the Zhang family. He didn't believe that Wen Yi or the Zhang family had the ability to order people from the Sacred Institute around. Sure. Fong Yuan agreed to Yu Shan's request after thinking for a while. From Yu Shan's performance in the previous 2 matches, he was terrifyingly strong. Fong Yuanzi even suspected that Su Shan's strength was comparable to his. If Ning Yu was the third to fight Yu Shan, he might not even last 20 moves. Dongfang Ji was very optimistic about Ning Yu. He absolutely did not wish to see Ning Yu eliminated. Xiao Yu versus Su Shan, Fong Yuan said after thinking for a while. Whoosh. Xiao Yu arrived in front of Yu Shan. Hee, I'll let you have 3 moves first. Looking at Xiao Yu standing before him, Su Shan raised his eyebrows and laughed. Humph. Su Shan's frivolous behavior caused Xiao Yu's expression to turn ugly. Without the slightest hesitation, she immediately dashed towards Yu Shan. Bang, bang, bang. Yu Shan was indeed a man of his word. He said he would let her have 3 moves first. After 3 moves, Yu Shan smirked and threw out his right fist, aiming straight for Xiao Yu's chest. Pervert. Looking at the growing fist in front of her, Xiao Yu clenched her teeth and immediately retreated. However, Yu Shan's speed was obviously much faster than hers. In the blink of an eye, he appeared in front of her. F***CK. Isn't Yu Shan too much of a pervert? Si Kongling did not say anything when he was defeated by Yu Shan. After all, he was not as skilled as Yu Shan, and saying too much would make others think that he was petty. However, when he saw Yu Shan's perverted behavior, he wanted to immediately charge forward and save the damsel in distress. I admit defeat. Seeing that Yu Shan's fist was about to come into contact with her chest, Xiao Yu hurriedly shouted. Hee, it's a little too late to admit defeat now. With an evil smile, Yu Shan's fist turned into a claw and fiercely grabbed at Xiao Yu's chest. At this moment, Yu Shan had transformed into a milk grabber. Yu Shan, you will die a horrible death. Xiao Yu was in despair and slowly closed her eyes. Bang! However, after a few seconds, what Xiao Yu had imagined did not happen. She was still standing in the same spot, unharmed. What's going on? The moment she opened her eyes, Xiao Yu could not help but cry out. This was because a palm appeared in front of her and blocked Yu Shan's perverted hand for her. Step back first. Pulling Xiao Yu behind him, Ning Yu said to Yu Shan, she has already admitted defeat. If you continue to attack, it will be a little unreasonable. After all, Xiao Yu had helped him before, although that help seemed completely unnecessary. However, Xiao Yu and Xiao Yunlan's relationship seemed to be quite good, so there was no reason for Ning Yu to just stand by and watch. Ning, Ning, Ning. Ning Yu, it's you. Looking at the figure in front of her, Xiao Yu even stuttered a little. She did not expect that the person who helped her in her moment of despair was actually Ning Yu, the person she looked down upon. This world is too crazy, I want some peace and quiet. This was Xiao Yu's current thoughts. Did she admit defeat? Why didn't I hear it? Shrugging, Yu Shan immediately changed the topic and said coldly, now, all I know is that you interfered when I was fighting with Xiao Yu, and this made me very angry. What does your anger have to do with me? Ning Yu's anger was also ignited. He said in a low voice, I thought you were so strong, so you're deaf. You. Yu Shan's face turned cold. He pointed at Ning Yu and scolded, who do you think you are? Originally, I wanted to be the last to fight with you, but since you're looking for death, don't blame me. I just hope that you won't admit defeat later. Towards Yu Shan's threat, Ning Yu did not take it to heart at all. Although Yu Shan was strong, he was not weak. If they really fought, Yu Shan would not be able to defeat him within 20 moves. Furthermore, the yuan qi in his body was extremely dense. If he continued to fight, he could even defeat Yu Shan. Vice Principal Fang, let me test the strength of this arrogant brat Ning Yu in the next battle, Yu Shan said indifferently. Fang Yuanzi was in a difficult position. He was more inclined to let Ning Yu be the last to fight. Fang Yuanzi, let Ning Yu and Yu Shan fight. I want to see Ning Yu's true strength. Dongfang Ji was like a roundworm in Fang Yuanzi's stomach. Every time Fang Yuanzi was in a dilemma, he would remind him at the right time. With Dongfang Ji's words, Fang Yuanzi no longer hesitated. He said, next battle, Ning Yu against Yu Shan, 20 moves. Ning Yu. Xiao Yu bit her lips, she said, be careful. Don't worry, I know what I'm doing. Ning Yu flashed a warm smile at Xiao Yu and said, you retreat to the other side first so that you won't be affected by the fight later. Pa. At this moment Yu Shan clapped his hands, took a step forward and said, TSK, I really admire you, you're still picking up girls at this time. How about I give you a title, let's call it, how about picking up girls? Ha ha. Chapter 275. Ning Yu, don't say I didn't give you a chance. After laughing, Yu Shan said, I will stand here and take 3 moves from you. After that, I will make my move. Raising an eyebrow, Ning Yu said calmly, are you sure you will let me have 3 moves and stand still? Yu Shan said proudly, let alone 3 moves, even if I let you have 10 moves, so what? Do you think you can defeat me? I don't need 10 moves, just 3. Ning Yu said calmly. Whoosh. As soon as he finished speaking, Ning Yu quietly summoned the phantom armor, which appeared on the surface of his skin. Then, like a flash of lightning, Ning Yu disappeared in front of Yu Shan in the blink of an eye. That's fast. Ning Yu's sudden disappearance did not surprise Yu Shan. Under my powerful soul perception, your speed has no advantage. With a thought, Yu Shan released his late-stage rank 4 soul power, wanting to find Ning Yu's position. Where did he go? However, after using his soul force, Yu Shan still did not find any trace of Ning Yu. Not good. In the next moment, Yu Shan felt the space in front of him ripple, and a figure appeared in front of him. Yu Shan, take my punch. Ning Yu raised his right hand, bringing with it a violent yuan qi gale, and ruthlessly smashed it towards Yushan's chest. Qi. Ningyu used almost half of his yuan qi in this punch. It was very powerful. Damn it. At this point, Yushan could not care so much anymore. He quickly formed a hand seal and pushed his palm out, colliding with Ningyu's fist. Bang! After the attack, Yushan took 3 steps back before he could stabilize himself. As for Ningyu, he also took 3 steps back like Yushan. Standing on the fighting stage, Yushan's face was ashen and bloodless. He did not expect Ningyu to be so powerful. Not only was he fast, but even the essence energy in his body was so dense. Up until now, he still had some lingering fear. If he had followed his original plan of taking on 3 of Ningyu's moves, the consequences would have been unimaginable. Ningyu and Su Shan are neck and neck? It's good to see now. Yushan said that he would give Ningyu 3 moves. Give way my ass. If Yushan didn't resist the first move, he would probably be lying on the ground now. Who would have thought that Ningyu's strength has already reached such a level? Even the genius cultivators of the Sacred Institute aren't as strong as him. Don't be so sure. Yushan might be at the bottom of the Sacred Institute. Puff! The whispers in the surroundings caused Yushan to spit out a mouthful of blood. He was ranked 3rd on the Sacred Institute combat rankings, yet everyone said that he was worthless and that he was the weakest cultivator in the Sacred Institute. The aunt could endure it, but the uncle couldn't. Ningyu. Clenching his fists, Yushan's face was filled with rage. I seem to have heard someone say that he would give me 3 moves. Rubbing his sore wrists, Ningyu said indifferently. In the previous exchange, Ningyu did not gain the slightest advantage. The essence energy in Yushan's body was also very dense. Even if it was not as much as his, it was not much. This was what shocked Ningyu the most. After all, there were 2 illusory gold cores in his body. Could it be, suddenly, Ningyu's expression changed because he thought of a possibility, a terrifying possibility. The Qi whirlpool in Yushan's sea of consciousness had also become illusory gold cores. In other words, Yushan had most likely advanced to the half-step primal core realm. Facing Yushan, who was at the peak of the true martial realm, he could still fight to a draw and even win by relying on the dense essence energy in his body. But facing Yushan, who was at the half-step primal core realm, his chances of victory were very slim. Forget it, it doesn't matter if you give me 3 moves or not, I don't care. Ningyu rolled his eyes and shrugged. Yushan's face turned ashen, but he could not lose his temper. After all, he did say that he would give Ningyu 3 moves. Going back on his words was indeed his fault. I've changed my mind. After 20 moves, I will give you 3 moves, Yushan said coldly. Shadowless fist. After shouting, Yushan's eyes flashed with a cold light. His body moved, he clenched his fists and suddenly smashed them towards Ningyu's face. The afterimages of the fists overlapped, as if thousands of fists were smashing down at the same time. Such an imposing manner was clearly the result of mastering the Shadowless Fist to the extreme. Shadowless Fist. Top-grade Earth rank martial skill. I really did not expect Yushan to have mastered the Shadowless Fist to the great success stage. This time, Ningyu is in danger. The crowd cried out in alarm at the sight of the martial skill Yushan had displayed. The Shadowless Fist was a top-grade Earth rank martial skill, and in Yushan's hands, it could display its greatest power. Shadowless Fist faced with Yushan's sudden attack, Ningyu seemed to have long since been prepared. With a few leaps, he left his original spot, then exerted force through his legs and suddenly leapt into the air. Swish! In the air, Ningyu's hands grabbed at the air. Immediately, a cold light was caught in his hands, and he flung it towards Yushan. Overestimating yourself. An ominous glint flashed in Yushan's eyes. He clenched his fists tightly, as berserk yuan qi wrapped around his wrists like a ghost. In the next instant, he took a step forward, and a hissing sound rang out from under his feet. Immediately, Yu Shan's body was like a ghost, instantly dodging the cold light attack from Ning Yu, and countless afterimages of fists smashed towards Ning Yu's face. Fourth form of the Netherworld Samsara Palm, Netherworld Tyrant. At this crucial moment, Ning Yu's eyes flashed with a bright light, and he immediately executed the fourth form of the Netherworld Samsara Palm, Netherworld Tyrant Palm. Ning Yu knew that the Shadowless Fist was a top-grade Earth-rank martial skill, and in Yu Shan's hands, it could display its greatest power. If he didn't give it his all, the consequences would be unimaginable. Boom! Berserk Yuan Qi, accompanied by countless afterimages of fists, instantly approached Ning Yu. The wind generated from the friction of the air caused Sikong Ling and the rest to take a few steps back, not daring to approach the center of the battlefield. Crack! In the next instant, the one-sided battle that everyone had imagined did not occur. Instead, countless afterimages of fists stood in front of Ning Yu, colliding with Ning Yu's palm and emitting cracking sound. How is this possible? Everyone in the Dan Wu Plaza widened their eyes as they watched the afterimages of fists being shattered, their faces filled with disbelief. Against the Shadowless Fist, Ning Yu's palm actually managed to gain the upper hand, forcibly shattering the afterimages of fists into pieces. Is this Ning Yu's true strength? Fang Yuanzi looked at the center of the battlefield, his eyes filled with astonishment. If the first move was a draw with Yushan was nothing, then the fact that he could gain the upper hand in the second move was enough to prove that Ning Yu's strength was no weaker than Yushan's. I admit that I've underestimated you. Seeing that his Shadowless Fist had been shattered, Yushan immediately retreated, his feet touching the ground as he floated in the air. Standing in midair, Yushan stood with his hands clasped behind his back. You won't be so lucky next. I'll let you know exactly how big the gap between us is. Chapter 276. When the terrifying aura around Yushan's body spread out, the eyes of everyone in the Dan Wu Plaza narrowed as raging waves rose in their hearts. Half-step Origin Core Stage. I didn't expect Yushan to be a half-step Origin Core Stage expert. This time, Ning Yu is in danger. That's right. Ning Yu is only at the initial stage of the true martial realm. How can he be a match for a half-step Origin Core Stage martial artist? Yushan didn't use his full strength just now. Otherwise, Ning Yu would have been defeated long ago. That's right. Now I'll bet on how many moves Ning Yu can last against Yushan. Yushan did not take the commotion in the Dan Wu Plaza to heart. He faintly frowned as an ominous glint flashed in his ice-cold eyes. Soon after, his body brought along gusts of wind as he charged towards Ning Yu. Swish! Ning Yu also burst forth in an instant, his speeding figure seemingly tearing through the air. In an instant, the two figures collided without the slightest intention of dodging. Boom! At the moment of impact, Berserk Yuan Qi abruptly spread out. With the stage as the center, a powerful shockwave continuously swept out in all directions. Crack! The hard floor of the stage was actually shaken by the huge force to the point where a tiny crack appeared, emitting a cracking sound. The two figures separated upon contact, each taking a few steps back before stabilizing themselves. However, from the distance the two had retreated, it was clear that Yushan had a slight advantage in this exchange. Interesting. The corners of Yushan's mouth rose as a cold light burst forth from his eerie eyes. Soon after, his feet touched the ground as light blue Yuan Qi wrapped around his hands like flames. With a step forward, his body transformed into a gale as he swept forth. This speed was as fast as lightning, drawing the attention of many. Soaring Cloud Steps. It's actually the Soaring Cloud Steps. Watching Yushan's speeding figure, the expressions of the numerous martial artists in the Dan Wu Plaza changed, revealing astonished gazes. What's the Soaring Cloud Steps? Someone asked. You don't even know the Flying Cloud Steps? Listen carefully, I'll tell you. A late-stage Xiantian martial artist explained, Soaring Cloud Steps, a top-grade Earth-ranked movement technique. When executed to the extreme, one's speed is comparable to an early-stage Yuan Dan martial artist. What? Doesn't that mean that even an initial Yuan Dan stage martial artist can't catch up to Yushan? That person exclaimed. Whoosh! In the next moment, Yushan suddenly appeared in front of Ningyu, his hands instantly blasting towards Ningyu's chest. However, his powerful attack was like a monkey, passing right through Ningyu's body. Afterimage? Seeing that his attack had missed, Su Shan narrowed his eyes. Without any hesitation, he turned his fists around and punched in another direction. Bang! A deep voice rang out on the stage as Ningyu suddenly appeared before Yushan. His fist, which was filled with violent Yuan energy, had already collided with Yushan's fist. You're pretty fast, but in front of absolute power, you have no place to hide. Yushan sneered. The tip of his foot tapped the ground as he once again leapt into the air, sending a punch towards Ningyu's head. This punch was extremely powerful. If Ningyu was unlucky enough to be hit, even if he did not die, he would be crippled. As he sensed Yushan's formidable attack, Ningyu slightly furrowed his eyebrows, before the soul power in his body stealthily appeared on the surface of his palm. In the next instant, violent Yuan energy swept out from his sea of consciousness, completely covering the soul power on Ningyu's palm. Immediately, Ningyu pushed his hands forward as several palm prints immediately appeared, directly slapping towards Yushan's fist. Netherworld Samsara Palm, Underworld Tyrant Palm. At this moment, Ningyu did not hold back as he executed the Underworld Tyrant Palm to the limit. The first time Ningyu used the Underworld Tyrant Palm, he did not use his soul power and only used his powerful Yuan energy, which was slightly weaker. This time, he even used his peak grade, 4 soul power in order to defeat Yushan in one move. Chi. Several Underworld Tyrant palm prints struck out, creating a sizzling sound as they rubbed against the air. Pa. 3 consecutive palm prints landed on Yushan's fist, causing Yushan's expression to change drastically as he immediately retreated. However, before Yushan could retreat, a few more palm prints arrived in front of him. Under his shocked gaze, the palm prints slapped towards his cheeks. Pa. A series of crisp sounds rang out as Yushan was slapped, causing him to stagger back several feet. Absolute sword ripple. After gaining the upper hand, Ningyu did not stop. Instead, he injected the Yuan energy in the golden core into the absolute soul sword and slashed out a shocking sword ripple. Swoosh! The absolute sword ripple was the 5th form of the Supreme 9 Purities sword technique, and it was extremely powerful. Golden core, come out! Facing such a powerful sword ripple, Yushan's expression darkened to the extreme. With a cold glint in his eyes, the golden core in his sea of consciousness flew out and floated above his head. Golden core. Could it be that Yushan isn't a half-step Yuan core realm expert, but a Yuan core realm expert? No, it's a golden core, but it's infinitely close to a real golden core. If Yushan is given some more time, he will definitely break through his limit and advance to the Yuan core realm. Swish! With the golden core out, Yushan's powerful confidence was revealed as he said to Ningyu, "You can be proud that you've forced me to use my golden core." Yushan did not expect Ningyu to be so powerful that he could force him to use his golden core. In the Sacred Institute, there were no more than 3 experts that could force him to use his golden core. In other words, Ningyu's strength could already be ranked in the top 5 of the Sacred Institute. Since I've taken someone's money, I'll have to break one of your legs today. A cold glint flashed in Yushan's eyes. Immediately, a powerful ball of Yuan Qi shot out from his golden core. Buzz. The Yuan Qi contained in this ball of Yuan Qi was comparable to a peak true martial realm expert. Explode. Just as the ball of Yuan Qi was about to touch the absolute sword ripple, Yushan shouted. Boom. As Yushan shouted, an earth-shattering explosion rang out, and a terrifying shock wave spread out in all directions from the center of the explosion. Not good. Everyone, get out of the fighting ring. Feeling the powerful shockwave of the explosion, Fang Yuanzi shouted, all martial artists, stay 20 meters away from the fighting ring. Swish. Swish. The surrounding martial artists were not stupid. Almost at the same time when the ball of Yuan Qi exploded, their figures flashed and they frantically ran away. The power of the explosion of the ball of Yuan Qi was similar to the self-destruction of a true martial realm martial artist. Even a half-step Yuan Dan martial artist would not dare to resist the self-destruction of a true martial realm martial artist. Not to mention that the surrounding people were mostly Xiantian and true martial realm martial artists. Ningyu. On the fighting ring, there were only 4 people who had not left: Yu Shan, Fang Yuanzi, Xiao Yu, and Xikong Ling. Xiao Yu, we'd better leave the fighting ring quickly, or it will be too late. Although Xikong Ling wanted to help, he knew the gap between him and Ningyu. If Ningyu could not resist the power of the explosion, it would be useless for him to go. Chapter 277. But, Xiao Yu hesitated. No buts. I'm here to watch over Ningyu. However, before Xiao Yu could finish his sentence, Fang Yuanzi shouted, now, you and Xikong Ling leave the fighting ring immediately, without any hesitation. As he spoke, Fang Yuanzi released the aura of an early Yuan Dan cultivator. His right hand grabbed at the air and 2 cold lights were thrown towards Xiao Yu and Xikong Ling. Bang! Bang! The 2 cold lights brought with them a strong wind, directly blasting Xiao Yu and Xikong Ling out of the fighting ring. Absolute sword wave. Just as Xiao Yu and Xikong Ling retreated from the fighting ring, a loud shout came from the center of the explosion, and then a shocking sword wave appeared in the air. Qi. This shocking sword wave contained extremely violent Yuan Qi, so much so that even the surrounding space seemed to be blasted apart. Swoosh. Along with the absolute sword wave, a slightly skinny figure appeared. What? He's not seriously injured? Seeing the young man standing in the air with his hands behind his back, Yu Shan's expression changed drastically, and his eyes revealed a shocked expression. The explosion of the Yuan Qi light ball was very powerful, and even he did not dare to take it head-on. Ningyu was only in the early stage of the true martial realm. How could he come out of the center of the explosion unscathed? So what if he came out? I can still use this kind of Yuan Qi light ball 3 more times. With a cold snort, Yu Shan's mind moved, and a Yuan Qi light ball that was not weaker than the one before swept out from the Golden Dan, attacking Ningyu. Explode? Oh no. However, just as Yu Shan was about to control the Yuan Qi light ball to explode, his pupils shrank and his body retreated. This was because he realized that Ningyu had already appeared in front of him with the absolute soul sword in his hand. It's a little too late to react now. The corners of his mouth curled up into a smile, and Ningyu's right hand slightly exerted force, and the absolute soul sword stabbed out. In the next moment, the absolute soul sword gradually enlarged in Yu Shan's eyes, and finally, with a poof, it fiercely stabbed into his chest. Poochie! The immense pain from his chest caused Yu Shan to spit out a mouthful of blood. His face was slightly pale. How could Ningyu give Su Shan another chance after his attack succeeded? He abruptly withdrew the soul-breaking sword, raised his right leg, and ruthlessly swept towards Su Shan's neck. Bang! If Yu Shan had not retreated in time, he would have been hit by Ningyu's right leg. In his heavily injured state, if Ningyu's right leg hit his neck, the consequences would be unimaginable. Furthermore, Ningyu had injected the Yuan Qi in his sea of consciousness into his right leg in order to achieve victory in one strike. He wanted to completely make Yu Shan lose the ability to fight. However, even though this kick didn't hit Su Shan, it still caused him to gasp. Wah! However, just as Ningyu was about to attack again, Fang Yuanzi's figure flashed and landed between him and Yu Shan. Seeing this, Ningyu's eyes narrowed, and he immediately stopped. Fang Yuanzi shouted in a low voice, "Your fight ends here." I declare Ning Yu the winner of this round. Why? Su Shan shouted, I can still fight. It's not even 20 moves yet. Humph. You know the condition of your body. Fang Yuanzi coldly snorted. Do I need to tell you whether you can last 20 moves or not? The fourth round is to see if Ning Yu can last 20 moves against you. What about now? The question is whether you can last 20 moves against Ning Yu. It's fine if you don't admit defeat, but you can continue fighting. There's no 20 moves limit. Fang Yuanzi was a little angry. He continued, life and death are up to fate. Swish. Fang Yuanzi's words made Su Shan's face turn ashen. Fang Yuanzi was right. Now that he was heavily injured, he might not even be able to withstand 3 moves, let alone 20. However, he wasn't willing to admit defeat no matter what. He was ranked 3rd on the Sacred Institute's ranking list. He was unwilling to admit defeat to a martial artist in the early stage of the real martial realm who had not even entered the Sacred Institute yet. Just now, we exchanged a total of 8 moves. There are still 12 moves left. Ning Yu also did not want Su Shan to admit defeat. Someone like Su Shan, who molested women, should be taught a lesson and let him know what to do and what not to do. There are still 12 moves left. Su Shan, don't tell me you want to give up? Sikong Ling said in a low voice. Humph. He definitely wants to admit defeat. This kind of person only knows how to bully the weak and fear the strong. Xiao Yu said coldly. Poochie. Xiao Yu and Sikong Ling's words made Su Shan spit out a mouthful of blood again. 12 moves, continue. Clenching his fists, Su Shan rose from the ground and rushed towards Ning Yu. Good, straightforward. The corner of Ning Yu's mouth curled up. He stamped his right foot on the ground and dashed forward. Bang! Ning Yu's speed was so fast that Su Shan did not even have time to react before he was hit by Ning Yu's fist. The huge force that came from his chest forced Su Shan to take a few steps back before he could stabilize his body. 9th move. After 1 move, Ning Yu followed Su Shan and threw out a few more punches. 10th move, 11th move, 19th move. Several punches were launched in succession, all of which landed on Yu Shan's chest while he was caught off guard. Poochie. After being hit by so many punches, Su Shan's breathing became weak and he looked like he was going to collapse. Crack. At the same time, in the sealed secret chamber, Wei Zhe looked at the projection on the wall with a pale face and slammed his hand on the chair he was sitting on. Su Shan, this useless piece of trash. Wei Zhe growled in a low voice. It's not that Su Shan is useless, it's that Ning Yu is too strong. Dongfang Ji said calmly. If I'm not wrong, even if he were to face an early primal core martial artist, Ning Yu could still win easily. That's right, the Yuan Qi in Ning Yu's body is already comparable to an early primal core martial artist. Yuan Zhen nodded. If Su Shan had not already fought 3 rounds, how could he have lost to Ning Yu? Wei Zhe snorted. This battle was not fair in the first place. Wei Zhe rolled his eyes and continued, if we want to test Ning Yu's true strength, we should send Gu Tai, who is ranked 2nd on the Sacred Institute power list. Gu Tai. As soon as Wei Zhe finished speaking, Dongfang Ji and Yuan Zhen's eyes narrowed and their faces turned solemn. After a while, Yuan Zhen said slowly, Gu Tai, ranked 2nd on the Sacred Institute power list, at the peak of the true martial realm. In the previous true martial ranking, he was ranked 500th. If Gu Tai had not advanced to the half-step primal core realm, his strength should be comparable to the current Su Shan. Dongfang Ji said in a low voice, because at the start, none of us knew that Su Shan had actually advanced to the half-step primal core realm. None of us knew? I already knew that Su Shan had advanced to the half-step primal core realm. Wei Zhe snorted. Not only has Su Shan advanced to the half-step primal core realm, even Gu Tai has advanced to the half-step primal core realm. Gu Tai's strength is much stronger than Su Shan's. Not long ago, the two of them sparred. At that time, Gu Tai defeated Su Shan in 3 moves. Chapter 278. Bang! When Ning Yu's last punch landed, Yu Shan's body was like a kite with a broken string. Under everyone's gaze, he fell straight off the fighting ring. Yu Shan's defeat caused the entire Dan Wu Plaza to fall completely silent. This kind of silence was suffocating. Whoosh! However, this kind of silence did not last for long before it was broken by a clamor. Many martial artists were discussing it with each other in shock. Yu Shan actually lost to Ning Yu. Isn't this too unbelievable? What's so unbelievable about it? From the moment Ning Yu blocked the explosion of the Origin Chi light ball, I knew that Ning Yu would definitely win. Hindsight, who was the one who started a bet on how many moves Ning Yu could take from Yu Shan? No matter what, after today, Ning Yu's name will resound in the capital. He will become a household name. The discussions that reached his ears made Yu Shan's face turn ashen. When he came, he was full of confidence. He did not take these true martial realm martial artists seriously at all. In his opinion, with his cultivation at the peak of the true martial realm and his strength as the 3rd on the Sacred Institute's combat list, how could he lose? However, the reality was cruel. Not only did he lose, but he lost completely. If not for Ning Yu holding back, he would have been blasted into smithereens. Gulp! In the air above the fighting ring, Fang Yuanzi could not help but swallow a mouthful of saliva. Although he had already guessed this outcome, when the moment came, Fang Yuanzi still could not believe what had happened in front of him. What kind of freak was Ning Yu? He had defeated Yu Shan, who was at the peak of the true martial realm, with his cultivation at the early stage of the true martial realm. Most importantly, he still had strength left. This was the most terrifying thing. His strength and talent are even more abnormal than Zhang Tianwen's. In an instant, this thought appeared in Fang Yuanzi's mind. Soon, this thought was killed in the cradle. Because those who had not seen Zhang Tianwen could not imagine how abnormal he was. Not long ago, Zhang Tianwen, who was at the late stage of the true martial realm, had sparred with Wei Zhe. 3 moves, Zhang Tianwen had endured an entire 3 moves from Wei Zhe before being defeated. It must be known that Wei Zhe was a mid-primal core adept, and to be able to withstand 3 blows from a mid-primal core adept was enough to show how abnormal Zhang Tianwen was. At that time, Zhang Tianwen was only in the late stage of the true martial realm. Now, Zhang Tianwen was in closed-door training, and once he came out, it was very likely that he would advance to the peak of the true martial realm. One could imagine how abnormal Zhang Tianwen's strength was when he was at the peak of the true martial realm. Dean Fang, I wonder if I've passed the test this time? Just as Fang Yuanzi was in a daze, Ning Yu's voice rang in his ear. If I pass, can I take a break? Pass, it counts as a pass. Fang Yuanzi quickly regained his senses and said, Since that's the case, I'll go first. However, before Ning Yu could finish his sentence, a swiftly approaching figure landed on the stage in the blink of an eye. Whoosh! When he saw the sudden appearance of this figure, Ning Yu's pupils shrank, revealing a horrified expression. He could sense an extremely terrifying aura from this figure. Yuan Dan stage. The martial artist in front of him was at least at the Yuan Dan stage, and could even be at the mid-primal core stage. Elder Wei. Ning Yu did not recognize the martial artist who had suddenly appeared, but Fang Yuanzi did. Fang Yuanzi flew down from the air, and said in a low voice, May I know what business you have here? Humph! A mere deputy dean dares to speak to me in such a manner. Wei Zhe was clearly dissatisfied with Fang Yuanzi's tone, and coldly snorted. If this wasn't the Sacred Institute's recruitment, I would definitely teach you a lesson. Buzz buzz. As Wei Zhe's words rang out, another 2 figures tore through the air and steadily landed between Wei Zhe and Fang Yuanzi. Wei Zhe, Fang Yuanzi is the host of the Sacred Institute's recruitment this time. Isn't it a little inappropriate for you to interfere in this matter? Dongfang Ji said indifferently. The Sacred Institute's recruitment rules have long been set, and cannot be changed by you. Dongfangji, don't use whatever rules to suppress me. Weizhe said coldly, rules are dead, but people are alive. Now that Yu Shan has been defeated, the remaining battles naturally have to be replaced. As he spoke, Weizhe flicked his sleeves, and a martial artist immediately appeared at the end of the Danwu Plaza. This martial artist was around 25 years old, with a square face, short hair, and a few sword scars on his cheek. Swoosh! In the blink of an eye, this martial artist landed on the fighting stage. Dean Dongfang, Elder Wei, Elder Yuan, and Deputy Dean Fang. After this martial artist appeared, he cupped his fists and greeted everyone. Gu Tai, what are you doing here? Dongfangji immediately realized that something was wrong when he saw Gu Tai and shouted in a low voice. Replying to Dean Dongfang, Elder Wei asked me to come over. Gu Tai replied with a calm expression in the face of Dongfangji's rebuke. Dongfangji, I don't wish to say anything unnecessary. I only have one request, and that is to let Ning Yu and Gu Tai fight. Weizhe said gloomily, as long as Ning Yu can defeat Gu Tai, I won't interfere with anything he does in the Sacred Institute in the future. From Gu Tai, Ning Yu sensed an aura that was not weaker than Yu Shan's. In other words, Gu Tai was stronger than Yu Shan, and not just by a little bit. Who is Gu Tai? Ning Yu knew that Yu Shan's ranking in the Sacred Institute would not be too low, but he did not know anything about Gu Tai. It could be said that he knew nothing about him. Gu Tai, ranked second on the Sacred Institute's combat roll. Right at this moment, Ouyang Yuan quietly appeared behind Ning Yu and explained, in the Sacred Institute, there are only two martial artists who can firmly suppress him. One is Guili, ranked first on the Sacred Institute's combat roll. What about the other one? Ning Yu asked doubtfully. Gu Tai was ranked second on the Sacred Institute's combat roll. It was understandable that the ranked first on the Sacred Institute's combat roll could suppress him, but who was the second martial artist who could firmly suppress him? Taking a deep breath, Ouyang Yuan said in a deep voice, Zhang Tianwen. Zhang Tianwen is the second expert who can firmly suppress Gu Tai. Zhang Tianwen. Ning Yu's heart skipped a beat, feeling a little incredulous. In the Sacred Institute, Zhang Tianwen is a special existence. The Sacred Institute's combat roll does not have him, Ouyang Yuan said with a solemn look in his eyes. Why? Ning Yu asked. Because Zhang Tianwen is a core disciple and has a core quota. Ouyang Yuan said solemnly, any martial artist who can obtain a core quota will enjoy treatment that surpasses the Sacred Institute's combat roll's combat roll, and will not enter the Sacred Institute's combat roll. It is said that there are a total of 3 core quotas, and Zhang Tianwen obtained one. As for the other 2, I do not know. Suddenly, Ouyang Yuan seemed to think of something and continued, Dan Yu, who made it to the 8th floor of the Ivory Tower, should be able to obtain a core quota if he enters the Sacred Institute. Chapter 279. Sigh. Subsequently, Ouyang Yuan sighed softly and said, Wei Zhe is an elder of the Sacred Institute. His position in the Sacred Institute is second only to Dongfangji. I wonder what his intentions are by letting Gu Tai spar with you. Actually, Ouyang Yuan had also guessed a possibility. Wei Zhe wanted Ning Yu to become a core disciple. But very soon, he rejected this possibility. Because Ning Yu had just fought with Yu Shan, he had expended too much of his essence qi and was not in peak condition. Letting Ning Yu fight with Gu Tai, who was ranked second on the Sacred Institute's combat roll, definitely did not have good intentions. Ning Yu, be careful. If you can avoid fighting with Gu Tai, try not to. Ouyang Yuan felt the need to remind Ning Yu and said in a low voice, Gu Tai is very strong. Yu Shan could not even last 3 moves against him. In this world, before one's strength grows, some things are beyond one's control, Ning Yu said in a deep voice after taking a deep breath. Swoosh. As soon as Ning Yu finished speaking, Gu Tai had already landed in front of him. Ning Yu, I have no other choice in this battle. Standing in front of Ning Yu, Gu Tai said, You are not in peak condition now. I will give you an hour. We will fight after an hour. Humph. Gu Tai, I want you to attack Ning Yu now. Wei Zhe snorted coldly. Are you not even going to listen to me? Wei Zhe, according to the rules, Ning Yu is already a martial artist of the Sacred Institute. Before Gu Tai could reply, Dongfang Ji said in a deep voice, Furthermore, I announce that Ning Yu is a core disciple of the Sacred Institute. Swoosh. Dongfang Ji's words caused a huge uproar in the entire Danwu Plaza. Core disciple? Dongfang Ji actually selected Ning Yu to be a core disciple? One had to know that the Sacred Academy's core disciple selection process was extremely strict. Even the top-ranked cultivator on the Sacred Academy's combat rankings had failed to become a core disciple, let alone Ning Yu. Ning Yu had only defeated Su Shan, and Su Shan was only ranked third on the Sacred Institute combat rankings. Although Ning Yu defeated Yu Shan, it is not enough for him to become a core disciple. Could it be that there's something shady going on? It's hard to say. Maybe Ning Yu has a good relationship with President Dongfang. The whispers from the surroundings did not affect Dongfang Ji at all. He continued, I don't think I need to tell you about the treatment a core disciple enjoys in the Sacred Academy, right? Damn it. Wei Zhe cursed inwardly as he clenched his fists gloomily. The treatment a core disciple enjoyed was extremely abnormal. The most important thing was that they didn't have to accept any challenges from cultivators that weren't core disciples of the Sacred Institute. In other words, unless Ning Yu was willing, no martial artist on the Sacred Institute combat list could be the first to attack him. Of course, this treatment was only effective in Danwu College. Once they left Danwu College, who would care about this treaty? So far, there were 2 core disciples in the Sacred Institute. One was Zhang Tianwen, and the other was Ning Yu. Zhang Tianwen was in closed-door training, and no one knew when he would come out. It seemed that no one could attack Ning Yu here. Elder Wei, since Ning Yu has become a core disciple, I can't fight with him today. Goodbye. At this moment, Gu Tai cupped his fists at Wei Zhe and immediately flew out of the fighting ring. Wait! However, before Gu Tai could move, Dongfang Ji's voice rang in his ears. Yu Shan is seriously injured. You will replace him in the next assessment. Me? Gu Tai glanced at the remaining real martial realm martial artists and asked in surprise, President, are you sure you want me to fight with him? It was no wonder that Gu Tai was a little surprised. He was very strong, and if he used his full strength, none of the remaining true martial realm martial artists could last more than 20 moves against him. 3 moves. As long as I can last 3 moves against you, it means that I can pass the assessment and enter the Sacred Institute, Dongfang Ji said indifferently. Dongfang Ji's words did not make Ouyang Yuan and the rest excited, but grave expressions appeared on their faces instead. That was because enduring 3 moves against Gu Tai was more difficult than enduring 20 moves against Yu Shan. Dongfang Ji, I don't agree to you letting Ning Yu become a core disciple. Wei Zhe said coldly. Elder Wei, is Ning Yu's strength and talent not enough to become a core disciple? Dongfang Ji asked. Furthermore, someone said that as long as Ning Yu can last 30 moves against Yu Shan, he will give the core disciple spot to him. Ning Yu defeated Yu Shan in 20 moves. Did someone forget what he said? Did he forget his promise? Dongfang. Hiss. Clenching his fists, Wei Zhe's reprimanding words were just about to come out of his mouth when he suddenly stopped and sucked in a breath of cold air. The corner of Wei Zhe's mouth curled up into a strange smile. He laughed sinisterly and said, I agree to let Ning Yu become a core disciple. Hearing Wei Zhe's words, Dongfang Ji frowned. He felt that something was wrong. Although he was a little puzzled, Dongfang Ji did not say much. Instead, he said to Fang Yuanzi, the assessment will continue. As long as you can last 3 moves against Gu Tai, You can enter the Sacred Institute. Dongfang Ji, the core disciples of the Sacred Institute will represent the Sacred Institute in the 100 Academy tournament. You should let us see Ningyu's strongest strength, Wei Zhe said with a faint smile. What do you mean? Dongfang Ji frowned. Haha, nothing. I just feel that we should do it according to the rules. With a faint smile, Wei Zhe barked towards the sky, come out. It's time for everyone to witness your strength. Buzz. In the next moment, space surged and a martial artist leaped out of the void. Oh no. The moment this martial artist leaped out, Ningyu realized that something was wrong. This was because this martial artist was speeding towards him. This martial artist was very fast. In the blink of an eye, he appeared in front of him and punched him in the face. Damn it! Feeling the violent wind in front of him, Ningyu's expression changed drastically. This sudden change was clearly beyond his expectations. He did not expect this martial artist to be so bold as to attack him in front of so many higher-ups of the Sacred Institute. Without much time to think, Ningyu raised his right hand. Suddenly, an extremely violent yuan qi appeared on the surface of his palm. Then, his fist carried a piercingly cold, murderous intent as he punched forward. Bang! In the next moment, the sound of two fists colliding rang out crisply in the arena. After the blow, Ningyu immediately retreated. He stared at the martial artist in front of him and shouted, "Who are you?" Although they had only exchanged blows in a hurry, Ningyu could basically conclude that his opponent was extremely powerful. He was not just a little bit stronger than Su Shan. At the very least, the density of his opponent's yuan qi was not inferior to his. Chapter 280. Most importantly, if you want to become a core disciple, you have to pass through me. When this voice resounded on the stage, the huge Dan Wu Plaza instantly quietened down. Who was it? Who was so arrogant to dare speak to Ningyu like this? One had to know that Ningyu was a powerful existence who had defeated Su Shan, and Su Shan was ranked third on the Sacred Institute's combat roll. Dongfang Ji had already personally appointed Ningyu as a core disciple. In the Sacred Institute, who else was more influential than Dongfang Ji? Zhang Tianwen. It's Zhang Tianwen. Suddenly, someone shouted loudly and broke the silence. This shout caused the entire Dan Wu Plaza to be in an uproar. Zhang Tianwen? It's actually Zhang Tianwen. Didn't Zhang Tianwen die prematurely? Why would he appear in the Sacred Institute? You're too behind the times. Zhang Tianwen did not die prematurely, but entered the Sacred Institute and became a core disciple very early. Zhang Tianwen is a core disciple? That's right, Zhang Tianwen is indeed a core disciple. In the Sacred Institute, his position is only inferior to Dean Dongfang and a few elders. Hearing the whispers coming from the surroundings, Ningyu's heart thumped. He had long heard of Zhang Tianwen, but he did not expect Zhang Tianwen to be so powerful. Peak of the true martial realm. If he was not wrong, Zhang Tianwen had already advanced to the peak of the true martial realm. Against Zhang Tianwen, he only had less than a 30% chance of winning. Zhang Tianwen, you've advanced to the peak of the true martial realm. In fact, the moment Zhang Tianwen appeared, Dongfang Ji had already noticed, but he did not stop Zhang Tianwen from attacking Ningyu. He also wanted to see how strong Ningyu was. Through the previous attack, Dongfang Ji could basically determine that Ningyu's strength was much lower than Zhang Tianwen's. If both sides were to fight here, Ningyu's chances of winning were very slim. Dean Dongfang, I have indeed advanced to the peak of the true martial realm. Smiling at Dongfang Ji, Zhang Tianwen said, before the 100 Academy tournament, I am confident that I can advance to the half-step Origin Core Realm or even the Origin Core Realm. Good. Dongfang Ji's eyes lit up when he heard Zhang Tianwen's words. Zhang Tianwen, who was at the peak of the true martial realm, was already so strong. Once he advanced to the Yuan Dan realm, his strength would advance by leaps and bounds. He might even be able to defeat a late-stage Yuan Dan martial artist. At the end of the day, the 100 Academy tournament was a competition between the strongest academies. With Zhang Tianwen and the recruitment of Ning Yu and Dan Yu into the Sacred Institute, he was confident that he would surpass the previous 100 Academy tournament. Din Dongfang, the core disciples of the Sacred Institute, are supposed to represent Danwu College in the 100 Academy tournament. Zhang Tianwen glanced at Ning Yu and said calmly, "It doesn't make sense for them to be too weak. Ghost Li's strength is not weak either. He has repeatedly wanted to be promoted to a core disciple, but was rejected by you every single time." Zhang Tianwen continued, "If you let Ning Yu become a core disciple, Ghost Li will definitely be bitterly disappointed." At this moment, Wei Zhe laughed sinisterly and said, "Dongfang Ji, in my opinion, let Ning Yu and Zhang Tianwen fight. If Ning Yu can defeat Zhang Tianwen, he can become a core disciple." "No way." Dongfang Ji flatly refused. What kind of joke was this? Zhang Tianwen had already advanced to the peak of the true martial realm and was extremely powerful. Letting Ning Yu fight him? It was no different from asking for abuse. Besides, Zhang Tianwen had been in the Sacred Institute for a long time, and Ning Yu had never trained in the Sacred Institute. The fight between them had never been fair. "How about this, let's each take a step back." Wei Zhe rolled his eyes and stretched out 3 fingers. 3 moves. As long as Ning Yu can withstand 3 moves from Zhang Tianwen, he can become a core disciple. In Wei Zhe's opinion, not to mention 3 moves, even if it was just 1 move, Ning Yu might not be able to withstand it. The strength that Zhang Tianwen had displayed even made his heart palpitate. 1 move, we can only exchange 1 move. After pondering for a moment, Dongfang Ji said in a deep voice, "If Ning Yu can withstand 1 move from Zhang Tianwen, he can become a core disciple." Ning Yu might not be able to withstand 3 moves, but there was still a chance for him to withstand 1 move. After hesitating for a moment, Ning Yu said, "Din Dongfang, I have something to ask you." "Go ahead." Dongfang Ji said, "If I become a core disciple, can I ask you for a favor?" Ning Yu said. Whether or not he could become a core disciple, Ning Yu didn't care. What he cared about was whether or not he could save Lu Wei. If risking his life to become a core disciple was of no help to saving Lu Wei, then what was the use of becoming a core disciple? Ha ha ha, as long as you can become a core disciple, the entire Sacred Institute will be your backing. Before Dongfang Ji could speak, Wei Zhe laughed. With regards to Wei Zhe's words, Ning Yu directly ignored it and stared at Dongfang Ji. When he saw Dongfang Ji nod, Ning Yu's heart was finally at ease. "The rest of you, leave the arena and leave space for Ning Yu and Zhang Tianwen to fight." Dongfang Ji's eyes turned slightly cold as he said in a deep voice, "Swoosh, swoosh." When Dongfang Ji's voice fell, all the martial artists on the arena, including Wei Zhe and Fang Yuanzi, evacuated to the Danwu Plaza. As for Dongfang Ji, he slowly left the ground and floated in the air. The reason why Dongfang Ji floated in the air was that he wanted to ensure that Ning Yu and Zhang Tianwen were not injured. After all, in 5 months, both of them would be representing Danwu College in the 100 Academies tournament. "Ning Yu, I have to say that you're really gutsy." On the arena, the corner of Zhang Tianwen's mouth curled up slightly as he said with a faint smile, "You're the first martial artist I've faced after coming out of seclusion. I'm very lucky. I'm not like Yushan. I can pinch trash like Yushan to death with 1 hand. Don't think that you can withstand 1 move from me just because you defeated Yushan. I'll let you know that there's always someone better than you out there. Oh right. I heard that you're ranked 8th on the Zhang clan's wanted list. Even if I killed you here, no one would say anything, right?" Zhang Tianwen did not say the last sentence out loud. Instead, he opened his mouth and used soul voice transmission to send it to Ning Yu's ear. Middle stage grade 4 soul strength. When he heard that, Ning Yu's heart trembled. Because the strength of Zhang Tianwen's soul strength had already reached the level of middle stage grade 4. Moreover, Zhang Tianwen's soul voice transmission was so brilliant that even Dongfang Ji did not notice it. Taking a deep breath, Ning Yu replied, "There are many people who want to kill me. Who do you think you are?" Zhang Tianwen was a little moved because he realized that the strength of Ning Yu's soul strength was comparable to his. He had a fortuitous encounter and spent a lot of effort to advance his soul strength to middle stage grade 4. What did Ning Yu do to advance his soul strength to middle stage grade 4? You still dare to be stubborn even now. The corner of Zhang Tianwen's mouth curled up into an evil smile as he said coldly, "Don't worry, I won't kill you here." Chapter 281. Rumble. Zhang Tianwen took a step forward and unleashed a monstrous aura. Sensing the aura emitted from Zhang Tianwen, everyone in the entire Dan Wu Plaza sucked in a breath of cold air. Ning Yu is in danger this time. Judging from the aura alone, even an early-stage primal core martial artist is no match for Zhang Tianwen. That's right. Zhang Tianwen is indeed a core disciple of the Sacred Institute. His strength is obvious to all. One move. Ning Yu definitely won't be able to withstand it. Swoosh. The next moment, Zhang Tianwen stepped on the ground and slowly floated up. In midair, Zhang Tianwen stood with his hands behind his back and said coldly, "Ning Yu, I've been in seclusion for so many days. Not only did I advance to the peak of the true martial realm, I've also successfully cultivated a martial technique. Today, I'll let you see how insane this martial technique is." As soon as the word Chu fell, Zhang Tianwen's hands quickly formed a seal. Buzz. As Zhang Tianwen's hands continuously formed seals, with him as the center, the surrounding essence qi all gathered towards him and finally converged on his fist. Flower-scattering fist. With a low roar, a pair of essence qi wings appeared behind Zhang Tianwen's back, and he immediately swept towards Ning Yu at an astonishing speed. Zhang Tianwen's right fist crossed in front of his chest, and the friction between his fist and the air actually produced purple flames. Swoosh. Suddenly, Zhang Tianwen split into two, becoming two Zhang Tianwen. Swoosh. Swoosh. Very quickly, two split into four, becoming four Zhang Tianwen. Swoosh. 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 Immediately after, four split into eight, becoming eight Zhang Tianwen. The sudden change made Ning Yu's expression change drastically, and his heart sank to the bottom. Against Zhang Tianwen's flower-scattering fist, Ning Yu was not too afraid. After all, the essence qi in his body was not weak, and in a head-on clash, Zhang Tianwen might not necessarily gain the upper hand. Illusion. The key was that Zhang Tianwen used the illusion technique. 8 Zhang Tianwen, only one was the original body, and the other 7 were all illusions. Soul Force. With a thought, Ning Yu quietly released his peak 4th grade soul force, wanting to detect which one was Zhang Tianwen's original body. What? However, Ning Yu discovered that something was amiss the moment his soul power was unleashed. Because he discovered that all 8 Zhang Tianwens were his original bodies. In other words, Zhang Tianwen could freely switch between the phantom and his real body. Dark Tyrant Palm. Gritting his teeth, Ning Yu's essence surged out from his body and wrapped around his fist. Unavoidably, it collided with Zhang Tianwen, who was at the very front. Bang! When the two fists collided, Ning Yu could feel the immense force coming from his fist, and he could not help but take a few steps back. Xiao! However, just as Ning Yu took a few steps back, his expression turned cold again. The second Zhang Tianwen had already arrived in front of him. Bang! He punched out again and collided with Zhang Tianwen's fist. Poochie! Compared to the first punch, Zhang Tianwen's punch was much more powerful, causing Ning Yu to feel a sweetness in his throat as he spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. Ning Yu. Below the stage, Xiao Yu revealed a worried expression. Believe in Ningyu. Although he was as worried as Xiao Yu, Sikong Ling stood on the spot and said solemnly. Not knowing why, Sikong Ling always believed in Ningyu. He believed that Ningyu could stop Zhang Tianwen. This confidence originated from the surprises that Ningyu had brought him time and time again. From the Furnace Cauldron Pavilion to the stage, Ningyu had fought with Wen Yi and the rest several times, and they all ended in complete victory. This time, Sikong Ling still believed in Ningyu. Soul-breaking sword. After stabilizing his figure, Ningyu shook his wrist and the soul-breaking sword appeared in his hand. After taking out the soul-breaking sword, Ningyu injected all the essence qi in one of the phantom golden cores into the soul-breaking sword. Then, in front of everyone, the soul-breaking sword suddenly pierced out. Chi-chi. In the next moment, a powerful sword wave struck out from the soul-breaking sword and flew into the air. This sword wave even caused friction with the air, making a sizzling sound. Absolute sword wave. As Ningyu shouted in his heart, this shocking sword wave slashed on Zhang Tianwen's third phantom. Buzz. As soon as the absolute sword wave came into contact with Zhang Tianwen's phantom, the phantom instantly exploded and turned into nothingness. After shattering this phantom, the absolute sword wave still had a powerful force and quickly swept towards the fourth phantom. Crack. Immediately after, the fifth phantom. Crack. Finally, the sixth phantom. Crack. Damn it. Ningyu, I want you to die. 4 consecutive phantoms were shattered by the powerful sword wave unleashed by Ningyu. Zhang Tianwen's face turned very ugly. Cursing, Zhang Tianwen's remaining 2 phantoms merged into one and turned into his original body. Take my sword. After turning into his original body, Zhang Tianwen flicked his sleeve and a black flying sword appeared in his hand. Black Demon Sword Radiance. With a low roar, Zhang Tianwen waved the black flying sword in his hand repeatedly. In an instant, a shocking sword radiance that was not weaker than the absolute sword wave appeared in the sky. After the black demon sword radiance appeared, it seemed to be guided and directly slashed at Ningyu's neck. Black demon sword radiance. Looking at the huge sword radiance that was approaching him, Ningyu muttered. Immediately after, his eyes turned cold and the soul-breaking sword left his hand. At this moment, Ningyu put himself in a dead end and slowly closed his eyes. After 0.1 second, Ningyu's eyes opened with a swoosh. Solitary sword wave. These 3 words rang in Ningyu's heart. Then, a terrifyingly powerful sword wave erupted from the soul-breaking sword and instantly swept towards the black demon sword radiance that Zhang Tianwen had unleashed. This is impossible. Seeing the powerful sword wave from the soul-breaking sword, Wei Zai's face turned extremely ugly. He could not believe what he had just seen. Because even he might not be able to block this move from Solitaire, Ningyu was only at the early stage of the martial realm. How could he unleash such a powerful sword wave? This is a big surprise. Dongfang Ji's eyes lit up as he murmured. Originally, he was very worried about Ningyu's safety and was ready to help Ningyu at all times. Now it seemed that he had overthought. Just from this move, Ningyu and Zhang Tianwen. What? However, before Dongfang Ji could finish his sentence, he seemed to have seen something terrifying and his eyes revealed a shocked expression. In midair, Zhang Tianwen took a deep breath and waved the black demon sword in his hand again. In an instant, another 3 black demon sword radiance swept out and together with the first one, they blasted towards the solitaire that Ningyu had slashed out. Such a change was out of everyone's expectations. For a moment, the entire Dan Wu Plaza quietened down once again. Damn it! Isn't there only one move? The current Zhang Tianwen isn't using just one move. After a short period of silence, Sikong Ling loudly shouted. Hearing that, Dongfang Ji's expression changed. His figure flashed, wanting to stop Zhang Tianwen. Swoosh! However, before Dongfang Ji could move, Wei Zai arrived in front of him. Chapter 282. Wei Zhe, don't think that I don't dare to touch you. Dongfang Ji unleashed his aura and suppressed Wei Zhe without holding back. Damn it! Being suppressed by Dongfang's Yuan Dan peak aura, Wei Zhe was a little breathless. After all, he was only at the middle primal core stage, while Dongfang Ji was at the pinnacle of the primal core stage. The difference between the two of them wasn't just a little bit. If Dongfang Ji really attacked him, he wouldn't even be able to block a single move. Quickly look at Ningyu. Right at this moment, Yuan Zhen shouted in a low voice. Hearing this, Dongfang Ji's gaze instantly shifted to the battlefield. Whoosh! Looking at the scene before him, Dongfang Ji instantly retracted his aura. In the center of the battlefield, facing Zhang Tianwen's 4 black demon sword lights, Ningyu's face was emotionless. He grabbed the soul-severing sword in his hand. Buzz! Then, the absolute soul sword swung back and forth, emitting a buzzing sound. Voila! The trembling did not last for long before it was covered by the 3 sword ripples. In midair, the 4 solitaires stood side by side, and opposite them were 4 black demon sword lights. The silence of the battle did not last long. In the next moment, the solitaire and the black demon sword light attacked at the same time and collided with each other. Rumble! The sword wave and the sword light clashed and a powerful shockwave soared into the sky. Then, it exploded and spread out in all directions. Not good, seal the stage. The sudden change caused Dongfang Ji's face to drastically change. He hastily retreated to the edge of the stage as his hands began to rapidly wave. As Dongfang Ji waved his hand, rays of cold light shot out from his wrist, completely sealing off one side of the stage. Whoosh! 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 At the same time, Wei Zhe, Yuan Zhen, and Fang Yuanzi flew to the other 3 sides of the fighting stage and sealed it. Chi-chi! Just as Dongfang Ji and the others sealed the stage, a powerful shockwave arrived at the edge of the stage. Dongfang Ji was at the pinnacle of the primal core stage, and the seal he had set up was the strongest. The aftershock only lasted for a moment before dissipating. Fang Yuanzi's cultivation was at the early primal core stage, and his side was the weakest link. The strong aftershock was about to tear the blockade that he had set up. Xiao! At the critical moment, Dongfang Ji rushed to Fang Yuan's side and struck out a few palm strikes to stabilize the seal. Gulp! In the Dan Wu Plaza, everyone could not help but swallow a mouthful of saliva as they watched the earth-shattering collision on the stage. Weren't Ning Yu and Zhang Tianwen a little too powerful? The fight between them was even more exciting than the fight between early primal core practitioners. The fighting stage is shrouded in mist. I wonder who will win. I guess it's Zhang Tianwen. After all, Zhang Tianwen has been in the Sacred Institute for a long time, and his cultivation is higher than Ning Yu's. It's hard to say. The strength that Ning Yu has displayed is not the slightest bit weaker than Zhang Tianwen. Humph! If Ning Yu wins, I'll twist my head off and let you use it as a chamber pot. On the other side of the arena, Xikong Ling's brows were tightly knitted together as he faintly felt that something was amiss. Just based on this move between Ning Yu and Zhang Tianwen, Ning Yu would definitely not be defeated. At the very least, it would be a draw. After all, the sword wave that Ning Yu displayed was not weak either. It was even slightly stronger than the black baneful sword light that Zhang Tianwen displayed. However, the fighting stage was now shrouded in black mist. No one could see the situation inside. If Zhang Tianwen attacked Ning Yu again, the consequences would be unthinkable. No wonder you can be ranked in the top 10 of the Zhang clan's wanted list. So you have some skills. Inside the black mist, Zhang Tianwen put away his contempt and looked at Ning Yu opposite him. I forgot to tell you, I was only practicing just now. I only used 50% of my strength. Twisting his neck, Zhang Tianwen continued. Next, I'll let you know what true despair is. As his voice fell, Zhang Tianwen's eyes turned cold. A powerful soul pressure swept out from his body. Middle stage rank 4 soul force. Feeling the soul pressure from Zhang Tianwen, Ning Yu's face was as calm as an ancient well. He flicked his sleeves and a powerful soul pressure that was not weaker than a middle stage rank 4 soul force swept out from his body. I already knew that your soul force is also at middle stage rank 4. Zhang Tianwen seemed to have guessed that Ning Yu would display his soul force. He did not care at all. The corner of his mouth curled up and he smiled evilly. If your soul force is only at middle stage rank 4, then no one can save you today. Because, at this point, Zhang Tianwen paused for a moment. He then took out a medicinal pill and threw it into his mouth. As soon as the medicinal pill entered his mouth, Zhang Tianwen's soul force instantly increased from middle stage rank 4 to middle stage rank 4, and it was still increasing. Peak rank 4. 5 seconds later, Zhang Tianwen's soul force increased to peak rank 4. Because my soul force is at peak rank 4. Zhang Tianwen continued. Relying on medicinal pills to increase your soul force to peak rank 4 won't last long. Ning Yu stood in the same place. He was not too worried about Zhang Tianwen's soul force increasing. Hee, you still dare to be so stubborn when you're about to die. Fine, I'll cripple your soul force first. After laughing, Zhang Tianwen instantly moved. His body appeared in front of Ning Yu in an instant. Peak rank 4 soul force gathered on his wrist, and a palm was aimed at Ning Yu's head. Dark dominating palm. Facing Zhang Tianwen's palm, Ning Yu's eyes lit up. Without the slightest hesitation, Ning Yu wrapped his soul force around his palm and counterattacked. It was unavoidable that it collided with Zhang Tianwen's palm. You dare to collide with my peak rank 4 soul force? I'll let you know what a flower is. Seeing that Ning Yu dared to resist his palm, Zhang Tianwen's lips curled up. Just as he was about to mock him, his expression changed drastically. Because he realized that the soul force on Ning Yu's palm was no weaker than his. Your soul force has also reached peak rank 4. Zhang Tianwen shouted. Hee, it's too late to realize it now. This time, it was not Zhang Tianwen who laughed, but Ning Yu. Damn. Before Zhang Tianwen could curse, he felt a fishy taste in his throat. He suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood. At the same time, he felt a strong suction coming from Ning Yu's palm. Almost in an instant, 1/10 of his soul force was sucked away. How dare you devour my soul force? Zhang Tianwen was infuriated. He relied on his extraordinary soul force to suppress others in the Sacred Institute. If his soul force was devoured by Ning Yu, he wouldn't even be a match for Ghostly, who ranked first on the combat ranking of the Sacred Institute. You're very lucky. Suddenly, Ning Yu retracted his palm and quickly retreated, putting some distance between him and Zhang Tianwen. What's going on? Zhang Tianwen was puzzled. Why did Ning Yu suddenly retreat? Soon, he found out the reason. Not far away, Dongfang Ji, Wei Zhe, and the others transformed into numerous afterimages and appeared between him and Ning Yu almost instantly. Chapter 283. Humph! Seeing Wei Zhe and the others appear in front of him, Zhang Tianwen snorted coldly and immediately flew away. Zhang Tianwen's actions made Wei Zhe a little dumbfounded. What was going on? Why did Zhang Tianwen suddenly leave? Could it be, thinking up to here, Wei Zhe's expression turned gloomy because he guessed a possibility. Zhang Tianwen was at a disadvantage in his fight with Ning Yu. But on second thought, Wei Zhe felt that it was impossible. Zhang Tianwen was at the peak of the true martial realm, and Ning Yu was only at the early stage of the true martial realm. The difference between the two was not small. Even if Zhang Tianwen did not use his full strength, Ning Yu could not defeat Zhang Tianwen. Ning Yu, you blocked Zhang Tianwen's move? Wei Zhe hesitated. If you want to say it was one move, then just take it as one move, Ning Yu said lightly. Anyone with a discerning eye could see that he and Zhang Tianwen did not just exchange one move. Now that Wei Zhe was lying openly, Ning Yu could not do anything. After all, Wei Zhe was an elder of the Sacred Institute. How can you speak to me like that? Wei Zhe's face darkened as he scolded. I am an elder of the Sacred Institute, and you are just a core disciple of the Sacred Institute. How dare you speak to me like that? As his voice fell, Wei Zhe displayed his mid-stage primal core aura and pressed down on Ning Yu. Elder Wei, anyone can see that Zhang Tianwen violated the agreement. After I blocked his move, he attacked me again. Yuan Qi surged out of Ning Yu's body, and while resisting Wei Zhe's aura, he said in a deep voice, although you are an elder of the Sacred Institute, you can't make me lie openly. I am not human? Wei Zhe was dumbfounded. Ning Yu had called him not human in front of so many people. Even an ant could not tolerate it. The next moment, Wei Zhe stomped on the ground and was about to rush toward Ning Yu. Enough. Right at this moment, Dongfang Ji berated. A dignified elder of the Holy Academy attacking a student? What a scandal. Go back now and check on Zhang Tianwen. Even if you don't say it, I will go back. Clenching his fists tightly, Wei Zhe said coldly, Ning Yu is too arrogant. Recruiting him into the Sacred Institute will definitely bring a lot of trouble to the Institute. I advise you to be careful. Whoosh! Wei Zhe's figure flashed, chasing after Zhang Tianwen. Ning Yu, no matter what, Wei Zhe is still an elder of the Sacred Academy. It's a little irrational for you to speak to him like that. After Wei Zhe left, Dongfang Ji spoke up. You're right, Dean. I won't speak to Wei Zhe like that next time, Ning Yu replied. Dongfang Ji was speechless. Clearly, Ning Yu did not take his words to heart. Wei Zhe was an arrogant man who considered everyone beneath him in the Sacred Institute and even in the entire Danwu College. There were two reasons why Wei Zhe was so arrogant. First, he had a strong backing. Second, he was the one who recruited Zhang Tianwen into the Sacred Institute. With these two reasons, everyone in Danwu College would basically give him some face. Now that an exceptional genius who was no weaker than Zhang Tianwen had appeared, coupled with his own advancement to peak primal core, Wei Zhe's status in the Sacred Institute would plummet in the future. Forget it, just be careful in the future. Waving his hand, Dongfang Ji said in a clear voice, Next, I announce that Ning Yu has successfully entered the Sacred Institute and has become the second core disciple of the Sacred Institute. Swoosh! When Dongfang Ji's words landed, the huge Danwu Plaza was instantly in an uproar. Initially, when they saw Zhang Tianwen leave, some people guessed that Ning Yu had defeated Zhang Tianwen. But Zhang Tianwen did not say anything, and they were not clear about the specifics. Now that Dongfang Ji announced that Ning Yu had become the second core disciple of the Sacred Institute, the result was obvious. Ning Yu should have gained the upper hand in the fight with Zhang Tianwen. Even if he did not defeat Zhang Tianwen, it was definitely a draw. This year's Sacred Institute recruitment is really full of twists and turns. Worth it. It's definitely worth it for us to come and watch the Sacred Institute recruitment. Luckily, we didn't miss such an exciting fight. Who was it just now who said that if Ning Yu won, he would twist his head off and let us use it as a chamber pot? Don't mention it, that guy snuck away long ago. If you want a chamber pot, better go buy it from the store yourself. If not for this interlude with Zhang Tianwen, the Sacred Institute recruitment would have ended long ago. Zhang Tianwen's appearance delayed a lot of time. After a slight pause, Dongfang Ji said, The remaining true martial realm martial artists don't need to participate in the Sacred Institute recruitment. All enter the Sacred Institute. Swoosh! Dongfang Ji's words caused the entire Danwu Plaza to be in an uproar again. Apart from Xiao Yu, Xikong Ling, and Zhang Zhaozhong, there were still 5 true martial realm martial artists left. Although the 5 of them weren't weak, only 1 or 2 of them could withstand 3 moves from Gu Tai. Dean Dongfang, Xikong Ling, and Xiao Yu aren't weak either. Should we? After hesitating for a moment, Ningyu still felt that he had to fight for Xikong Ling and the others. Before Ningyu finished speaking, Dongfang Ji said, Xiao Yu, Xikong Ling, Zhang Zhaozhong, the three of them also successfully entered the Sacred Institute. It's just that, except for you. Speaking up to here, Dongfang Ji slightly paused before continuing. As for the remaining 8 true martial realm martial artists, none of them are allowed to enter the Dan Wu pool. Hearing Dongfang Ji's words, Ouyang Yuan and the rest were slightly disappointed. After all, the main reason they came to participate in the Sacred Institute recruitment was for the Dan Wu pool. Now that they couldn't enter the Dan Wu pool, there wasn't much meaning for them to enter the Sacred Institute. After all, they were all top-notch geniuses in their respective factions, and the resources they enjoyed weren't any less than in the Sacred Institute. Bring these true martial realm martial artists into the Sacred Institute and arrange their accommodations, Dongfang Ji said to Fang Yuanzi. I have some matters to attend to. As he spoke, Dongfang Ji's figure flickered, instantly tearing through the void and leaving the stage. Behind him, Yuan Zhen also rose up from the ground and vanished. In the following month, if there's anything you don't understand, feel free to look for me. Fang Yuanzi waved his sleeves and took the lead, flying out of the Dan Wu Plaza. Let's go as well. Ningyu didn't hesitate. He smiled at Xikong Ling and followed closely behind. As for the other true martial realm martial artists, they naturally followed behind. Under Fang Yuanzi's lead, the 9 true martial realm martial artists flew out of the Dan Wu Plaza for another 10 minutes or so before coming to a stop. Fang Yuanzi pointed ahead and smiled. This is where you'll be staying. Following his line of sight, he saw a clear stream flowing about 10 meters away from him, which was lined with lush greenery and shady trees. On both sides of the stream, there were groups of courtyards. The origin qi here is actually so dense. A trace of astonishment flashed across Ningyu's eyes. He discovered that the origin qi in this region was extremely dense. It was at least twice as dense as the outside world. The left side of the stream is where the senior students live. If there's nothing, I advise you not to go over. Ningyu, what are you going there for? Chapter 284. Di Quan, I want to see Wan Er. Di Quan, I want to see Wan Er. On the left side of the stream, in front of the courtyards, there was a wide square. At this moment, dozens of martial artists had already gathered in this square. In the middle of the dozens of martial artists, a man in his 20s had an extremely ugly expression as he said coldly, Wan Er said that as long as I can enter the Sacred Institute, she will come and see me. As this man in his 20s finished speaking, the expression of a man in luxurious clothes opposite him instantly darkened. Slap! In a flash, the man in luxurious clothes appeared in front of the man in his 20s and slapped him. Accompanying the crisp sound was the indifferent words of the man in luxurious clothes. Yen Hui, is Wan Er something you can call? I'll give you one last chance, scram back to your doghouse immediately, otherwise I'll let you know why the flowers are so red. Reaching out to touch his burning cheek, Yen Hui clenched his fists tightly, a frightening glint bursting out of his eyes. However, just as Yen Hui was about to lose his temper, a martial artist beside him suddenly pressed his shoulder and said in a low voice, Yen Hui, I understand your current feelings, but we can't act rashly. Let's wait for Ningyu to come before we talk. Ningyu? Who is Ningyu? You don't even know who Ningyu is? You're too ill-informed. Ningyu is this year's Sacred Institute's first place. I heard that he defeated Su Shan and even blocked a move from Zhang Tianwen. No wonder these 2 new students dared to come here to cause trouble. So they have a backer behind them. Heh, they might have forgotten that no matter how strong their martial cultivation is, it's useless here. Hearing the whispers coming from all around, Yen Hui's expression turned even uglier. After distributing the accommodation, he came here at the first instant, wanting to see Meng Wan. Unfortunately, His whereabouts were discovered by Di Quan. Before he could enter the senior student's accommodation, he was stopped in the square by Di Quan and his men. Di Quan, I want to compete with you in alchemy, Yen Hui said loudly after some thought. In terms of martial strength, he and Yang Yu were definitely not a match for Di Quan and his men. If he wanted to see Meng Wan, there was only one way, and that was to surpass Di Quan in alchemy and completely suppress Di Quan. Did I hear that right? This kid actually wants to compete with Di Quan in alchemy. Is his head rusty or has he gone mad? Di Quan is ranked 10th on the Sacred Academy's alchemy list. A freshman wants to compete with him in alchemy? Dream on. The Sacred Institute of Danwu College had 2 lists. Sacred Institute Combat Rankings, Sacred Institute Alchemy Rankings. The Sacred Institute's combat ranking was a place that recorded the names of those who were extremely powerful in the martial Tao. On the other hand, the Sacred Institute's alchemy list included some freaks with heaven-defying alchemy skills. There were even rumors that the top 3 of the Sacred Institute's alchemy roll could even concoct 5th-grade pills. Of course, this was only a rumor and had yet to be confirmed. Di Quan, ranked 10th on the Sacred Institute's pill roll, an early-stage 4th-grade alchemist. Upon hearing Yen Hui's words, Di Quan's eyes revealed a trace of ruthlessness. Immediately after, his level 4 initial stage soul power swept out from his body and crazily pressed towards Yen Hui. Feeling such a powerful soul power pressing down on him, Yen Hui's expression changed drastically. The soul power within his body instantly swept out. Puchi! However, Yen Hui's soul power was only at the peak of level 3. Facing Di Quan's level 4 initial stage soul power, there was no way for him to resist. Di Quan's level 4 initial stage soul power instantly dispersed Yen Hui's soul power, causing him to spit out a mouthful of fresh blood. Yen Hui, you trespassed into the senior student's residence. Even if I cripple you here, no one will say anything. Di Quan took a step forward and his soul power became even more unbridled on Yen Hui. Di Quan, this isn't the senior student's residence, but the square for a fair competition. Seeing Yen Hui's miserable state, Yang Yu's soul power, which wasn't considered strong, was unleashed to resist Di Quan's powerful pressure together with Yen Hui. Hee, so you're not a hothead. You came prepared. Di Quan smiled faintly and said, fairness is relative. Only when one's strength is equal can there be fairness. For people like you whose strength and alchemy skills are low, there is no fairness to speak of. Since you've broken the rules today, you must be punished. As he spoke, Di Quan signaled to the martial artists beside him with his eyes. Dozens of martial artists understood and instantly dashed out, surrounding Yen Hui and Yang Yu in the middle. Moreover, the soul power in these martial artists' bodies poured out in full force, pressing towards Yen Hui and Yang Yu without any regard for their lives. Although these martial artists' soul power was not as strong as Di Quan's, with dozens of them added together, even a martial artist with a level 4 middle stage soul power would not dare to resist. Being suppressed by such powerful soul power, Yen Hui and Yang Yu spat out a few mouthfuls of fresh blood. Their faces became deathly pale, without any color. Alright, I already know. Bring Yen Hui to me. At this moment, a low voice suddenly sounded in Di Quan's ear, causing him to be slightly stunned. After a short moment of being stunned, Di Quan waved his hand and said, Stop. Bring Yen Hui to Senior Yi. As for Yang Yu, Di Quan paused for a moment then said, Throw him into the stream. Understood. Hearing this, dozens of martial artists instantly withdrew their soul power. Among them, a burly man lifted Yen Hui, who was already sitting paralyzed on the ground, and followed behind Di Quan, leaving the square. Another fat man grabbed Yang Yu and walked towards the stream. Senior, may I know how Yang Yu offended you? How did he offend me? He offended Senior Yi. The fat man said, What a hothead. Before coming here, He didn't find out clearly that there are two people in the Sacred Institute that cannot be offended. One is Senior Yi Tian and the other No You Are? Before the fat man finished speaking, his eyes widened. Looking at his empty palm, he said in surprise, "Who are you? Why did you take Yang Yu away from me?" Looking at Yang Yu, whose soul power was weak in his hand, Ning Yu's face turned a little ugly. Yang Yu's soul power was only at level 2 middle stage. Being oppressed by so much soul power, he naturally could not withstand it. After probing Yang Yu's body with his soul power, Ning Yu's anger subsided a little. Fortunately, he discovered it in time. Otherwise, Yang Yu's soul power would never recover to its peak state. Closing his eyes, Ning Yu's soul power entered Yang Yu's body and began to slowly repair his damaged soul power. "Brat, you are very arrogant." As he spoke, the essence chi in the fat man's sea of consciousness gushed out and gathered on his fist. He punched at Ning Yu's cheek. The fat man was at level 2 middle stage of the true martial realm. He had been cultivating in Danwu College for 3 years. Although his strength was not too strong, it was not too weak either. First, Yang Yu was snatched away by Ning Yu. Then, Ning Yu ignored his words. He felt that he had lost face. "Since you offended me, I will let you know what it means to be." However, before he could finish his sentence, the fat man screamed and his body was sent flying several feet away. Bang! Chapter 285. Ning Yu opened his eyes and withdrew his soul power from Yang Yu's body. Looking at Sikong Ling, Ning Yu said, "Brother Sikong, take care of Yang Yu for me. I have something to do." "What are you going to do?" However, before Sikong Ling could speak, Fang Yuanzi's figure flashed and blocked in front of Ning Yu. "That's where the seniors are. You can't go there and cause trouble. Deputy Dean Fang, you have to uphold justice for me." Seeing Fang Yuanzi, the fatty on the ground hurriedly stood up and said, "It's this brat. He attacked me indiscriminately and hit me so hard." Glaring at the fatty, Ning Yu said, "Dean Fang, take a look at Yang Yu's injuries first." Swoosh! As soon as he finished speaking, Ning Yu rose from the ground and rushed toward the public square. Hearing this, Fang Yuanzi released his soul power and probed into Yang Yu's body. After a while, Fang Yuanzi's face turned cold and he said angrily, Damn it, these seniors are too outrageous." After thinking for a while, Fang Yuanzi flicked his sleeve and a token appeared in his hand. "Oh Yang Yuan, bring my token to Elder Hu. He will assign you a place to stay." Fang Yuanzi passed the token to O Yang Yuan and said in a deep voice, "Without my permission, no one is allowed to step out of the residence. Otherwise you will bear the consequences." Then, Fang Yuanzi's figure flashed and he chased after Ning Yu. Looking at the token in his hand, O Yang Yuan thought for a while and said, "Let's go." Actually, O Yang Yuan and the rest wanted to go over and see what Ning Yu was doing. But they had just entered the Sacred Institute. If they went against Fang Yuanzi's words, they would not be able to bear the consequences. At the same time, Di Quan looked at the young man in front of him and said in a deep voice, "You're really bold. Let Yen Hui go." Ning Yu's face was expressionless as he said indifferently, "Ha ha ha." As if he had heard the funniest joke in the world, Di Quan faced the sky and let out a wild laugh. Soon after, he said in a cold voice, "If you want me to release Yen Hui, why don't you take a piss and look at yourself in the mirror? See what kind of person you are. It doesn't matter what kind of person I am. What's important is that Yen Hui didn't offend you." Ning Yu wasn't angry either. "You're right, Yen Hui did not offend me." The corner of Di Quan's mouth curled up as he said, "To tell you the truth, he fell in love with someone he shouldn't have." "Someone you shouldn't like?" Raising his eyebrows, Ning Yu said without batting an eyelid, "There's nothing wrong with liking someone. It's Yen Hui's right to like someone. You have no right to interfere." F***ck. I gave you face, but you don't want it? Truly a thing born but raised by no one. Beside Diquan, a tall and skinny man berated. The moment the tall, skinny man finished speaking, he suddenly felt his body become light, and he directly flew up. Bang! The sound of flesh hitting the ground resounded in the area. Arg! The tall, skinny man hugged his legs with both hands and let out a miserable shriek like a pig being slaughtered. Ningyu, to injure my man in front of me, aren't you not giving me face too much? Diquan's expression was very ugly. Originally, he thought that no matter how arrogant Ningyu was, he would not dare to make a move in front of him. Looking at it now, he was wrong, ridiculously wrong. Not only was Ningyu arrogant, but he was arrogant to the extreme. However, Ningyu's move earlier was very fast, so fast that he did not notice any inkling, which also meant that Ningyu's strength was much stronger than his. Just based on martial arts strength, he was not Ningyu's match. Rolling his eyes, Diquan's expression returned to normal as he said coolly, Ningyu, it's not impossible to save Yanhui, but you have to do it according to the rules. Only with strength can there be rules. Without strength, there are no rules. His entire body's aura was unleashed, pressing towards Diquan frenziedly. Ningyu said coldly, release Yanhui. Otherwise, don't blame me for not being courteous. Just entered the Sacred Institute and already so insolent. In another 2 years, how terrible will it be? Suddenly, a loud yell sounded. Following that, a figure approached from afar, appearing in front of Ningyu in an instant. At the same time, this figure threw a punch, bringing with it a violent gust of wind, towards Ningyu's cheek. His eyes turned cold. Ningyu's right hand clenched into a fist, and collided with the fist in front of him with no way to avoid. Bang! 2 fists collided. With the fist as the center, a terrifying to the extreme wind spread out frenziedly towards the surroundings. After the blow, Ningyu retreated several steps before stabilizing his figure. Rubbing his swollen fist, Ningyu said in a low voice, Elder Wei, why did you attack me? The cultivator in front of Ningyu was none other than Elder Wei, who had opposed him on the battle stage, Wei Zhe. Nothing? That doesn't make sense. How could this kid withstand my 5th grade soul force? Although he was a little surprised, Wei Zhe did not show it on his face. Instead, he scolded, It's fine if you were arrogant on the battle stage, but this is the Sacred Institute. It's not a place for you to behave atrociously. Elder Wei, when did Ningyu become so arrogant? At this time, Fang Yuanzi also arrived. Shielding Ningyu behind him, he said in a low voice, If the dean finds out that you attacked Ningyu, I'm afraid it won't be too good. Don't use Dongfang Ji to pressure me. Wei Zhe snorted coldly and said, As the head elder of the Sacred Institute, do you have any objections to me teaching Ningyu a lesson? Wei Zhe had just found out from Zhang Tianwen that Ningyu's soul force was very strong. It was even comparable to Zhang Tianwen's. Zhang Tianwen's soul force was the middle stage 4th grade. Didn't that mean that Ningyu's soul force had also reached the middle stage 4th grade? Moreover, with the powerful strength that Ningyu displayed, after a period of time, Zhang Tianwen's peerless genius title would probably change hands. Wei Zhe still wanted to rely on Zhang Tianwen to seize the position of the dean of the Sacred Institute. Now that there was a freak that was even more heaven-defying than Zhang Tianwen, how could he tolerate it? Seeing that Ningyu attacked in the senior students' area, Wei Zhe felt that the opportunity had come. The opportunity to suppress Ningyu had come. Elder Wei, even if you want to teach me a lesson, you should let me know the reason first. After driving the 5th grade soul force that Wei Zhe left in his body to a corner of his consciousness, Ningyu said in a low voice. Reason? You want to know the reason? Wei Zhe pointed at the tall, thin man on the ground and said darkly, This is the senior students' area. You attacked unscrupulously here, and even injured a senior student. This is the reason. Moreover, I only used 1/10 of my strength just now. It's already considered to be extremely benevolent, all for the sake of helping you turn over a new leaf. Now, it seems that you still haven't come to your senses. If you still refuse to come to your senses, I need to, Elder Wei, I want to ask you a question. Before Wei Zai's voice faded, Ningyu waved his hand and said, You still want to ask me a question? Ask away, lest others say that I'm bossy. Being interrupted by Ningyu, Wei Zai was very angry, but he did not lose his temper. Instead, Wei Zai cupped his fists and said with interest, If I scold you for being a thing that no one raised, what will you do? Chapter 286. When Ningyu's words rang out in the area, the surrounding warriors fell silent. Who was Wei Zai? He was the chief elder of the Sacred College, second only to Dongfang Ji. For Ningyu to say such things in front of Wei Zai, did he not respect Wei Zai at all? Isn't Ningyu a little too daring? This is going to be interesting. Elder Wei is not someone to be trifled with. That's right, Ningyu will pay for his arrogance. The surrounding martial artists didn't dare to speak loudly, all of them muttering to themselves. They had all entered the Sacred College a long time ago and naturally knew Wei Zai's character. In the past, there was a warrior in the top 5 of the combat list of the Sacred College who had offended Wei Zai and was beaten up and thrown out of the Sacred College. Now that Ningyu was making insinuations, he would most likely meet a tragic end. Crack crack. Wei Zai's knuckles cracked as he clenched his fist. His expression was extremely dark. Arrogant and disrespectful, I will teach you a lesson on behalf of your parents today. As soon as he finished speaking, Wei Zai rose from the ground, his body turning into a blur as he appeared in front of Ningyu in an instant. His right hand brought with it a violent gust of wind as he punched towards Ningyu's face. Wei Zai's attack was heavy and the gust of wind from his fist was at the mid-primal core stage. In other words, he was not holding back at all. Wei Zai was a mid-primal core stage warrior. When he attacked with all his might, even an early primal core warrior would have to avoid him, much less Ningyu. Therefore, the moment Wei Zai attacked, the surrounding warriors once again let out a wave of exclamations. Elder Wei is really angry, he's attacking with all his might. Could it be that Elder Wei wants to kill Ningyu? I don't think so. After all, Ningyu is a student of the Sacred College and a core disciple. If Elder Wei kills him here, Headmaster Dongfang will definitely not sit idly by. Even if he doesn't die, Ningyu will definitely be bedridden for several months. If I were Ningyu, I would run away immediately. There's still a chance. Run? In the hands of Elder Wei, he hurriedly ran away. What? Ningyu is not running? After a series of exclamations, everyone stared in shock at the scene before them. There were even some cultivators who stood rooted to the ground. Ningyu's eyes turned cold, and the violent primordial qi in his sea of consciousness surged out and gathered on his fist. Then, under everyone's astonished gazes, it inevitably collided with Wei Zai's fist. Bang! The crisp sound of fists colliding resounded in the area. Whoosh! Whoosh! Then, a silhouette quickly retreated. It only stabilized itself after retreating several feet. As for the other figure, he stood there with a gloomy expression. A mid-primordial core cultivator is indeed powerful. Ningyu's expression turned serious as he looked at Wei Zai, who had not moved an inch. He had used almost all his strength in that blow, but he had still not gained the upper hand against Wei Zai. Furthermore, he was at a disadvantage. After secretly comparing the strength of both sides, Ningyu relaxed slightly. Although Wei Zai was powerful, he still had a trump card that he had not used. That was the 6th technique of the 9 purities sword technique, solitaire. Ningyu believed that once he used solitaire, it would not be easy for Wei Zai to kill him. At this thought, Ningyu said calmly, Elder Wei, I was just stating the facts. The tall, skinny man called me a useless thing. It's not too much for me to teach him a lesson, right? If this wasn't the Sacred Institute, the tall, skinny man would have been decapitated. You're still so stubborn. Ningyu, I have to wake you up. Wei Zhe was surprised that his blow had not severely injured Ningyu. But today was the perfect opportunity to severely injure Ningyu. He had to seize it because if he missed this opportunity, he would not get it again. Wei Zhe, don't think that you can do whatever you want just because you're an elder of the Sacred Institute. Ningyu's temper flared as he said coldly, You think you can be an elder of the Sacred Institute just because you're old? What? You're saying I'm old? Wei Zhe's eyes widened as he could not believe his ears. I dare you to say that again. I didn't think that my ears would be a little deaf when I'm old. Shrugging, Ningyu said lightly, I said you're old. I have to take Yan Hui away today. Good, very good. At this moment, Wei Zhe was surprisingly calm, so calm that it was scary. With Wei Zhe's calmness, the temperature in the area seemed to have dropped significantly. After a while, Wei Zhe said to Diquan, Don't worry. I want to see who has the capability to snatch Yan Hui away from your hands today. Elder Wei, is there some misunderstanding? Just then, Fang Yuanzi said, Ningyu is a core disciple. Before Fang Yuanzi could finish his sentence, Wei Zhe interrupted him and said coldly, Is he worthy of being a core disciple? Today, I'll teach him a lesson and let him know the immensity of heaven and earth. As soon as he said the word immensity, Wei Zhe's body shook. All the soul power in his body gushed out unscrupulously and suppressed towards Ningyu. Damn it! Seeing Wei Zhe's soul power gushing out, Fang Yuanzi cursed in his heart. The soul power in his body also gushed out in an instant and blocked in front of Ningyu. Fang Yuanzi was very clear that Wei Zhe's soul power had reached the pinnacle of grade 5. Once Ningyu was suppressed by him, the consequences would be disastrous. In the best-case scenario, his soul power would be severely damaged. In the worst-case scenario, he would become a fool. Pucci. However, Fang Yuanzi was powerless. His soul power was only at the early stage of grade 5. Compared to Wei Zhe, it was much weaker. He only lasted for a short while before he was defeated. Without Fang Yuanzi's soul power to block, Wei Zhe's peak grade 5 soul power rushed to Ningyu's side without any resistance. Soul-breaking sword. At the critical moment, Ningyu shook his wrist and the soul-breaking sword appeared in his hand. Swoosh! Swoosh! He slashed out several sword rays, all of which were aimed at Wei Zhe's soul power. The soul-breaking sword was a devouring flying sword, so it had a unique sensitivity to soul power. However, Ningyu didn't dare to expose the soul-breaking sword in front of so many people and expose that it could devour Wei Zhe's soul power. Old fart, I devoured the soul power of a grade 6 alchemist from the corpse sect. How can your peak grade 5 soul power be a threat to me? The phantom armor appeared on the surface of his skin. Ningyu's speed was pushed to the limit and he retreated a few steps in the blink of an eye. At the same time, Ningyu quietly injected his peak grade 4 soul power into the soul-breaking sword. While retreating, he dealt with Wei Zhe's soul power. Relying on his flexible movements and super control of soul power, even when facing Wei Zhe's peak grade 5 soul power, Ningyu was still not at a disadvantage. Even Ningyu gave everyone an illusion that he was playing a monkey. Ningyu was a monkey, and Wei Zhe was a monkey. Ningyu, do you only know how to dodge? Wei Zhe didn't expect Ningyu's speed to be so fast and was stunned for a moment. Chapter 287. Not good. In the face of Wei Zhe's mid-primal Korean aura, Ningyu's expression changed. After all, he was only at the early stage of the real martial realm. It was already very good for him to resist Wei Zhe's peak 5th grade soul power. It would be difficult for him to resist Wei Zhe's mid-primal Korean aura. Absolute Sword Wave. Since it was difficult to resist Wei Zhe's powerful aura, Ningyu simply did not resist it. Instead, he waved the Absolute Soul Sword in his hand quickly and displayed the 5th move of the Supreme 9 Purities sword technique, Absolute Sword Wave. As Ningyu shouted, A shocking sword wave swept out from the Absolute Soul Sword. The sword wave paused in the air for a moment before it slashed towards Wei Zhe with all its might. Humph! If you did not resist, I might have shown mercy. Since you have chosen to resist, don't blame me. With a cold snort, Wei Zhe's eyes revealed a touch of coldness as he threw a punch at the Absolute Sword Wave. Chi. Wei Zhe's fist contained a strong fluctuation of yuan qi. When it came into contact with the Absolute Sword Wave, there was a burst of chi sound. However, what Wei Zhe expected did not happen. The Absolute Sword Wave was not shattered by his fist aura. On the contrary, his fist aura only lasted for a moment before it was defeated by the Absolute Sword Wave. Swoosh! Immediately, the Absolute Sword Wave appeared in front of Wei Zhe like a wild horse that had broken free of its reins. Moreover, the Absolute Sword Wave gradually expanded in front of Wei Zhe's eyes and finally blasted fiercely on his chest. Bang! The huge force from his chest caused Wei Zhe's expression to change drastically. He hurriedly retracted his mid-primal Korean aura and peak 5th grade soul power. Buzz buzz. After all, Wei Zhe was a mid-primal Korean cultivator. When he retracted his aura and soul power, he instantly shattered the Absolute Sword Wave. Ningyu, it is not impossible for you to take Yan Hui away. After shattering the Absolute Sword Wave, Wei Zhe said in a low voice, "This is a fair competition square. As long as you can win the competition, you can naturally take Yan Hui away." Wei Zhe's sudden action made Ningyu a little puzzled. Why did Wei Zhe suddenly change his mind at this time? Could it be that he was up to something again? Soon, Ningyu stopped thinking about it. No matter what Wei Zhe did, Wei Zhe would not budge. Seeing that there wasn't much of a reaction from Ningyu, Wei Zhe continued, "In terms of martial strength, you've already defeated Su Shan, who's ranked 3rd on the Sacred Academy rankings. You've already proven yourself, so there's no meaning in competing in terms of martial strength. As a core disciple, not only must one's martial arts strength be top-notch, their alchemy attainments cannot be too low either. At the very least, they must be in the top 5 of the Sacred Institute's alchemy list." Di Quan is ranked 10th on the Sacred Institute's alchemy list. You and him will have an alchemy competition. Pointing at Di Quan, Wei Zhe said indifferently, "If you win, take Yan Hui away. If you lose, Yan Hui will be punished." Looking at Yan Hui in Di Quan's hands, Ningyu said, "Wei Zhe, what did Yan Hui do wrong? Why should I be punished?" "What did I do wrong? Trespassing into the seniors' region, this is wrong," Wei Zhe said in a cold voice. "You just said that this is a fair competition arena, not the seniors' region." Ningyu said, "A dignified Sacred Institute elder being so biased towards seniors, one can't help but suspect that there's some shady deal involved." "I'm biased towards seniors?" Pointing at his nose, Wei Zhe berated, "Why don't you go ask around? I, Wei Zhe, have always been known for being fair in the Sacred Institute." As he spoke, Wei Zhe's gaze swept across the surrounding martial artists. Seeing Wei Zhe's gaze, the surrounding martial artists felt a chill in their hearts, hurriedly discussing. "Elder Wei has a very good reputation in the Sacred Institute, always known for being fair and just." "Yeah, Elder Wei is upright and plain-spoken, never lowering his head to evil forces." Ningyu, a freshman, slandered Elder Wei like this. "What's your intention? This batch of freshmen is too arrogant, we must teach them a lesson." The martial artists who spoke were all seniors, most of whom were brought by Di Quan. Since Wei Zhe was siding with Di Quan, they would definitely not go against him. Therefore, Ningyu treated their words as nonsense and did not take them to heart. There's no fairness without strength. Sighing inwardly, Ningyu turned to Wei Zhe and said, "Tell me, how do we bet?" Hee, that's more like it." The corners of Wei Zhe's lips curled up. He flicked his sleeves and a storage bag appeared in his hand. Waving the storage bag in his hand, Wei Zhe said, There are 2 sets of ingredients for refining a 3-mark pill in here. The rules are simple, you and Dequan will refine pills at the same time, whoever refines a 3-mark pill first wins. A 3-mark pill. That's a 4th-grade pill. An ordinary 4th-grade pill refiner would find it difficult to successfully refine one. Senior brother Dequan is a 4th-grade pill refiner. Refining a 3-mark pill shouldn't be a problem. No matter how strong Ningyu is, he can't possibly be a 4th-grade pill refiner, so senior brother Dequan has already won this battle before it even begins. Undisguised praises came from all around, causing Dequan to reveal an evil smile. Taking a step forward, Dequan took out the alchemy cauldron he always carried with him. Meteor Alchemy Cauldron, ranked 15th on the ranking list of men. Senior brother Dequan is indeed a 4th-grade pill refiner. He even managed to get his hands on the 15th-ranked Meteor Alchemy Cauldron. With the Meteor Alchemy Cauldron, senior brother Dequan will be able to refine a 3-mark pill without breaking a sweat. Seeing the alchemy cauldron in Dequan's hand, the crowd once again exclaimed in surprise. Everyone's eyes widened as they stared at the alchemy cauldron that was emitting a golden glow. Just then, Ningyu flicked his wrist and an alchemy cauldron the size of a palm appeared above his head. Seeing the alchemy cauldron above Ningyu's head, the crowd could not help but laugh. This is considered an alchemy cauldron? It's clearly a piece of scrap metal. Judging from the alchemy cauldron alone, Ningyu has already lost. Moreover, he has lost thoroughly. Using this alchemy cauldron, if Ningyu can refine a 3-mark pill, I will twist my head off. Wei Zhe's reaction was different from the rest. His soul force had reached the peak of 5th grade, so he could vaguely sense that something was amiss. Unknowingly, he felt that the alchemy cauldron above Ningyu's head was not simple. Forget it. Even if he has an alchemy cauldron ranked in the top 10 of the man ranking, it's impossible for him to refine a 3-mark pill before Dequan. Wei Zhe shook his head and did not think too much about it. He knew very well that Dequan had refined a 3-mark pill many times. Back when he was trying to get into the top 10 of the Sacred Institute's pill ranking, Dequan only spent 20 minutes to refine a 3-mark pill, obtaining the 10th place in the Sacred Institute's pill ranking. It could be said that even Wei Zhe did not have absolute confidence in defeating Dequan in refining a 3-mark pill. This was originally an alchemy competition that Dequan was certain to win. Thinking of this, Wei Zhe said, Ningyu, a simple alchemy competition is not interesting. Why don't we increase the stakes? Hearing Wei Zhe's words, Ningyu was slightly stunned. Chapter 288. It's more interesting to raise the stakes. With a smile, Wei Zhe said, as long as you can defeat Dequan, I will compensate you however many yuan crystals you have. If you fail, I don't want your yuan crystals. You just need to give me the cauldron. Ningyu's heart skipped a beat. He had been too careless. The cauldron quenching cauldron was ranked 50th on the cauldron earth list and was priceless. To prevent others from noticing the difference in the cauldron quenching cauldron, Ningyu had already made some adjustments to the cauldron, suppressing its aura slightly. Now, it seemed that with Wei Zhe's peak grade, 5 soul strength, he could still see some clues from the cauldron quenching cauldron's aura. Alright, this is all I have. After pondering for a moment, Ningyu seemed to have made up his mind. He took out a storage bag and said, do you want to check how many yuan crystals there are in it? Wei Zhe waved his hand and said, no need. It won't be too late to settle the bill after the competition. As he spoke, he divided the ingredients for the 3-mark pill into 2 portions, tossing one to Dequan and the other to Ningyu. Don't waste time. Start refining now, Wei Zhe said in a low voice. Swoosh, swoosh. In the next moment, Ningyu and Dequan's figures flashed and landed steadily in the center of the arena. Dequan tossed the meteor cauldron above his head, then grabbed a medicinal ingredient and tossed it into the cauldron. Sizzle! As soon as the medicinal ingredient entered the cauldron, it made a sizzling sound and was quickly burned into a drop of pure liquid. Di Quan patted the cauldron, and the drop of pure liquid burst out of the cauldron and was stored in a jade bottle that he had prepared. Di Quan then picked up another medicinal ingredient and tossed it into the cauldron. Di Quan's movements were very smooth and practiced. In a short period of time, there were already 5 jade bottles in front of him. The pure liquid in the jade bottle indicated that Di Quan had completely refined the 5-jeweled medicinal ingredient. Senior Brother Di Quan is indeed worthy of being ranked 10th on the Sacred Institute's alchemy list. His alchemy skills are indeed superb. That's for sure. I heard that Senior Brother Di Quan is aiming for the top 5 in the next alchemy roll contest. Top 5? I'm afraid it will be very difficult. The top 5 of the pill list are all monsters. Nothing is impossible. With Senior Brother Yi Tian's help, it won't be difficult for Senior Brother Di Quan to enter the top 5. All in all, Senior Brother Di Quan will definitely win this alchemy competition. This is understandable, because that brat Ning Yu has yet to start refining the 3-mark pill. Hearing this, everyone shifted their gaze to Ning Yu. When they saw Ning Yu staring at the medicinal ingredients in front of him, everyone was stunned. Could it be that Ning Yu didn't know how to refine a 3-mark pill? The more they thought about it, the more likely it seemed. After all, a 3-mark pill was a 4th-tier pill, and Ning Yu was not a 4th-tier alchemist, so it was very likely that he had never refined a 3-mark pill before. Ha ha ha, he was so arrogant just now. I thought he knew how to refine a 3-mark pill. Silver Spear Waxhead. It's definitely a Silver Spear Waxhead. It looks good, but it's useless. I've said it before. This is a competition without any suspense. Senior Brother Di Quan will definitely win. Seeing Ning Yu's expression, Fang Yuan's expression turned slightly ugly. The reason why he didn't stop the competition between Ning Yu and Di Quan was that he had used a secret technique to contact Dongfang Ji, hoping that Dongfang Ji would rush over. Unfortunately, he had used the secret technique, but Dongfang Ji didn't respond at all. Helpless, he could only give up on contacting Dongfang Ji. Swoosh! At this moment, Ning Yu's gaze slowly retracted from the medicinal ingredients. No problem, let's start refining the pill. His right hand was holding the quenching furnace while his left hand kept throwing the medicinal ingredients into the furnace. You've only started refining the pill now, how can you catch up to Di Quan? Wei Zhe snorted coldly when he saw Ning Yu's actions. Whether or not I can catch up to him is not determined by words, but by actions, Ning Yu said calmly as he shrugged his shoulders. To Ning Yu, the few minutes he had wasted was completely necessary. He didn't know if Wei Zhe had tampered with the medicinal ingredients, but it was always better to be careful. After checking every medicinal ingredient one by one, Ning Yu finally relaxed. Since there was no problem with the medicinal ingredients, it was only a matter of time before he could refine the 3-mark pill. In comparison, the difficulty of refining the 3-mark pill was much easier than the true martial pill. Even Ning Yu could refine a supreme-grade true martial pill, let alone a 3-mark pill. However, Ning Yu didn't intend to refine a supreme-grade 3-mark pill. In his opinion, a high-grade 3-mark pill was enough. Whoosh! In the next moment, Ning Yu grabbed a large amount of medicinal ingredients with his left hand and threw them into the quenching furnace. Gulp! Seeing Ning Yu's crazy actions, even though Fang Yuanzi was prepared for it, he couldn't help but swallow a mouthful of saliva. Previously, on the battle stage, Ning Yu had refined the soul-solidifying pill in this way. Therefore, from the beginning, Fang Yuanzi felt that Ning Yu would do this. However, the soul-solidifying pill was a 3rd-grade medicinal pill, while the 3-mark pill was a 4th-grade medicinal pill. Using the same method, would Ning Yu be able to refine a 3-mark pill? Ning Yu must have been kicked in the head by a donkey. It would be strange if he could refine a medicinal pill using this method. Maybe this is a unique method of refining medicinal pills that he created. A unique method of refining medicinal pills? In my opinion, he knew that he would lose, so he gave up. Look, Senior Brother Dequan is already extracting the medicinal liquid. Someone shouted, attracting everyone's attention. Dequan poured all the liquid in the jade bottle into the furnace and increased the temperature of the flame at the same time. Crackle! With so much pure liquid entering the meteor alchemy furnace, it was like frying beans, and a crackling sound could be heard. Suppress it. Following that, Dequan's fourth-grade soul force poured out and crazily surged into the alchemy furnace. The soul-solidifying pill. In the short span of 10 minutes, Dequan had already reached the last stage. As long as he used his soul force to suppress the medicinal liquid into the shape of a medicinal pill, and after a period of transformation, he would be able to refine a 3-mark pill. At most 5 minutes, Senior Brother Dequan will be able to refine a 3-mark pill. In my opinion, when Senior Brother Dequan is done refining the pill, Ningyu will definitely not have extracted the medicinal liquid. What is Ningyu doing? Everyone looked in the direction of the voice and realized that all the medicinal ingredients in front of Ningyu had disappeared. Everyone was dumbfounded. There were so many medicinal ingredients just now, why was there not a single one? Could it be that Ningyu threw all the medicinal ingredients into the alchemy furnace? Ha ha, I'm dying of laughter. I'm really dying of laughter. Why is there such a stupid person in this world? A student laughed loudly. Ningyu is in a hurry. If he doesn't do this, even if he can refine a 3-mark pill, he will still be behind Dequan. A student analyzed. The conflict that erupted here attracted the attention of some other senior students. Usually, Dequan relied on Yi Tian's support in the Sacred Institute to act like a tyrant and bully many senior students. Chapter 289. Bang! Bang! As the crowd discussed spiritedly, a low muffled sound rang out from the pill-quenching cauldron above Ningyu's head. Upon hearing this sound, the surrounding cultivators were first stunned, but soon after, they began to laugh without the slightest scruple. Ha ha ha! I already knew that Ningyu's willful actions would definitely cause the pill to explode. Ningyu's defeat is already set in stone. Elder Wei probably doesn't want to win Ningyu's yuan crystals, otherwise he wouldn't have asked for his pill cauldron. Right, from the looks of it, it's unknown whether Ningyu's pill cauldron will be able to endure the pill explosion. At the same time, Dequan fiercely slapped the meteor pill cauldron. Pill formed. Following Dequan's low shout, the lid of the meteor pill cauldron flew up, and a sparkling and translucent pill was about to burst out from the mouth of the pill-quenching cauldron. However, before the pill inside the meteor pill cauldron flew out, on the other side, Ningyu's eyes suddenly opened, and his palm heavily slapped the pill-quenching cauldron. Swoosh! In the next moment, the pill lid was lifted, and a smooth and round, sparkling and translucent pill flew out. What? Ningyu actually refined a 3-mark pill? This is impossible, absolutely impossible. Nothing is impossible. The pill in Ningyu's hand is indeed a 3-mark pill. Moreover, its quality is high. High-quality 3-mark pill. The surrounding cultivators were all dumbfounded, especially the many cultivators that had followed Dequan here. At this moment, their eyes were wide open, and their faces were filled with confusion. Ningyu refining a 3-mark pill caused them to be extremely shocked, to the extreme. This was because, how was Ningyu refining a pill? He was clearly messing around. If he could refine a grade 4 3-mark pill like this, was there still any justice in this world? If the other Tier 4 pill refinement masters knew about this, they would probably vomit blood. Ignoring the discussions around him, Ningyu held the 3-mark pill in his hand and slowly walked towards Wei Zhe. He said calmly, "Wei Zhe, I'm sorry to disappoint you. I managed to refine the 3-mark pill before Dequan. Bang! Wei Zhe stomped on the ground. He was so angry that his face turned green. He said in a low voice, "You are refining a high-grade 3-mark pill. Its quality might not be as high as Dequan's." Ningyu didn't mind. He shrugged and said, "Words are no proof. Let Dequan bring the medicinal pill over, and we'll know once we compare." In fact, Ningyu knew very well that Dequan's soul force was only at the beginning stage of rank 4. The 3-mark elixir that he refined in pursuit of speed would only be middle grade at best. Moreover, the pill that he had refined was a high-grade 3-mark pill. Even if they were to compare the quality of the pill, he would still be superior to Dequan. Dequan, Wei Zhe said coldly. "Elder Wei, I refined a middle-grade 3-mark pill." Clenching his fists tightly, Dequan's face turned ugly. He had never expected that Ningyu would be able to refine a high-grade 3-mark pill. Originally, he thought that Ningyu being able to refine a 3-mark pill was already very good. If someone had told him that Ningyu could refine a high-grade 3-mark pill, he would definitely have scoffed at it. However, the truth was placed before him, and he couldn't refute it. Dequan's heart was filled with unwillingness, extreme unwillingness. With his alchemy skills, it wasn't too difficult for him to refine a high-grade 3-mark pill. In fact, he might even be able to refine a supreme-grade 3-mark pill. In order to rush for time, he had only refined a middle-grade 3-mark pill. He had thought that he would be able to win, but who would have thought that he would fail miserably? Senior brother Dequan lost. When Dequan said that he had refined a middle-grade 3-mark pill, the faces of the seniors of the Sacred Institute who had followed him were as ugly as if they had eaten sh*t. They had been cheering happily just now, but now they had been slapped in the face. The burning sensation on their faces made them want to find a hole to hide in. "This surprise is a little big." Fang Yuanzi was slightly relieved. Although he trusted Ningyu more, before Ningyu had won, he had been very nervous. Now that Ningyu had successfully defeated Dequan, he could finally put down the stone in his heart. "Wei Zhe, the total is 6 million supreme-grade essence crystals and 45 million high-grade essence crystals." Ningyu stepped forward and arrived in front of Wei Zhe. He stretched out his hand and said, "It's time to honor the bet. Don't worry. I'm not someone who can't afford to lose." As he spoke, Wei Zhe reached into his robes and took out a storage bag. However, before he could throw the storage bag to Ningyu, he seemed to have thought of something. He glared at Ningyu and exclaimed, "What did you say? 6 million supreme-grade essence crystals and 45 million high-grade essence crystals? Why don't you just rob me?" "Wei Zhe, you won't go back on your words, will you?" Ningyu's expression was a little exaggerated as he said, "You said before that as long as I can defeat Dequan, you'll compensate me however many essence crystals I have on me." I did say that, but you can't ask for an exorbitant price." Wei Zhe snorted coldly. However, before he finished speaking, Ningyu waved the storage bag in his hand and said, "I'm not asking for an exorbitant price. This storage bag contains all of my belongings. A total of 6 million supreme-grade essence crystals and 45 million high-grade essence crystals. I didn't count the remaining middle-grade and low-grade essence crystals." Wei Zhe's eyes turned cold. He unleashed his peak rank 5 soul force and probed the storage bag in Ningyu's hand. Ningyu did not stop him and allowed Wei Zhe's soul force to search the storage bag. After a while, Wei Zhe slowly withdrew his soul force. His expression was as ugly as it could be. He had been tricked. Wei Zhe's first thought was that he had been tricked by Ningyu. Because inside the storage bag, there were indeed 6 million supreme-grade essence crystals and 45 million high-grade essence crystals. Ningyu did not lie. At this time, Wei Zhe was also rather vexed that he did not check before the bet started. 6 million supreme-grade essence crystals and 45 million high-grade essence crystals. He could take it out. But that was all of his belongings. It was all of his belongings as a peak rank 5 alchemist. If he handed it over to Ningyu here, he would instantly become a pauper. Wei Zhe, as the dignified Sacred Academy's head elder, you wouldn't be thinking of reneging on a debt, right? Ningyu secretly used essence qi, making his voice spread in the Sacred Academy. How can I possibly renege on a debt? Wei Zhe said gloomily. How about this, why don't we have another bet? As long as you can defeat me, I'll give you double the amount of essence crystals. Don't. You're a peak rank 5 alchemist. The disparity between us is huge. Ningyu hurriedly said, defeating you, I don't have too much confidence. My current idea is very simple. You give me 6 million supreme-grade essence crystals and 45 million high-grade essence crystals. Then, I'll bring Yan Hui to the freshman area. A lot of things happened today. I'm a little tired too. I need to rest now. Ningyu's words made Wei Zhe's face swell red like a monkey's butt. Asking him to hand over the essence crystals on him to Ningyu, he was definitely unwilling. But not giving the essence crystals to Ningyu, he felt that he could not live with his face. His prestige in the Sacred Academy would drop to the freezing point in the future. Even Zhang Tianwen might look down on him. Hohu, a freshman being so overbearing, I'm afraid it's somewhat inexcusable, right? Chapter 290. As the laughter faded, a cultivator slowly appeared before everyone's eyes. The martial artist was in his 20s. He wore a white robe and had a smile on his face. Yi Tian. It's senior brother Yi Tian. Why is senior brother Yi Tian here? Humph. Di Quan is Yi Tian's follower. If you want to beat a dog, you have to look at its master. Ningyu slapped Di Quan's face, so Yi Tian naturally has to come out and get back at him. A cold snort sounded. Hearing this, the surrounding martial artists were shocked. Who dared to speak like this? Was he not afraid of Yi Tian's revenge? It's Hong Jijun, senior brother Hong. No wonder he dared to speak to Yi Tian like this. So it's senior brother Hong. Yes, senior brother Hong is ranked 3rd on the Sacred Institute's elixir list, second only to Yi Tian. In the Sacred Institute, the two of them have always been at loggerheads. Looking at the two martial artists who suddenly appeared, Ningyu's expression turned slightly solemn. He realized that the strength of these two martial artists' soul force was no weaker than his. In other words, the strength of these two martial artists' soul force had reached the peak of grade 4. Hong Jijun, no one will think you're mute if you don't speak. Yi Tian glanced at Hong Jijun and withdrew his gaze. Yi Tian first cupped his fists towards Wei Zhe, then turned to Ningyu and said lightly, Elder Wei is the chief elder of the Sacred Institute. If you won fair and square, then so be it. But you used underhanded tricks to achieve victory. Elder Wei has already done his best not to apprehend you. You still want origin crystals? You really don't know what's good for you. What? Ningyu used underhanded means to refine a 3-mark pill? That's possible. After all, it came from senior brother Yi Tian, who is ranked 2nd on the Sacred Institute's elixir list. His alchemy skills are superb. That's right. I originally thought that Ningyu was really that amazing to be able to refine a 3-mark pill. Now it seems that he has already prepared a 3-mark pill. Amazing. Just a short sentence and you've already pointed the finger at me. Ningyu gave Yi Tian a very high evaluation. After all, there were very few people who could lead the way with just one sentence. Ningyu thought of a countermeasure in his mind. Yi Tian, your soul power has reached the 6th grade? Ningyu asked. Hee Ningyu, you take Yi Tian too seriously. At this moment, Hong Jijun laughed. Let me tell you, his soul energy is only at peak rank 4. Oh, I thought his soul power had reached the 6th stage. Nodding, Ningyu said in a clear voice, I'm sure everyone can feel the strength of Wei Zhe's soul energy. It's peak rank 5. Even with Wei Zhe's peak rank 5 soul force, he didn't notice that I was using tricks. As he spoke, Ning Yu's tone changed and he said coldly, "Who do you think you are, Yi Tian? What right do you have to say that I won by scheming?" Whoosh! Yi Tian's complexion turned gloomy all of a sudden, so gloomy that it was terrifying. In the Sacred Institute, and even in the entire capital, there were very few people who dared to speak to him like this. Apart from being ranked second on the Sacred Institute's alchemy list, he had another special identity: Elixir King Danshenzi's last disciple. With the title of Danshenzi's last disciple, even a primal core martial artist would have to be polite to him. Ningyu was only a true martial realm martial artist, and yet he dared to call him, "Who do you think you are?" in front of so many people? An aunt could tolerate this, but an uncle could not. Clap clap. Next to him, Hong Jijun clapped his hand. Good scolding. Ningyu, just because of this, I, Hong Jijun, will take care of you in the Sacred Institute. Whoosh! Hong Jijun's words made the surrounding martial artists a little dumbfounded. In the Sacred Institute, Hong Jijun was not to be trifled with. Yi Tian was Danshenzi's last disciple, and Hong Jijun was the last disciple of some hidden old monster in Danwu College. Both sides were evenly matched, and neither could do anything to the other. Now that Ningyu obtained Hong Jijun's protection, it would most likely be hard for Yi Tian to make a move. Ningyu was not an unreasonable person. He understood the logic of having more friends and more paths. "Brother Hong, I was also forced into a corner." Ningyu had a long face as he said, "Back then, Wei Zhe insisted on making a bet with me. I had no choice but to agree to him. Who would have thought that he lost the bet and didn't want to fulfill it?" Hong Jijun asked, "Ningyu, how many essence crystals did Elder Wei lose to you?" "Not much either. 6 million top-grade essence crystals and 45 million high-grade essence crystals, that's all," Ningyu said coolly. Hearing that, Hong Jijun could not help laughing out loud. What kind of joke was this? If 6 million top-grade essence crystals and 45 million high-grade essence crystals were not considered much, then how many essence crystals were considered much? Up until now, Hong Jijun finally understood why Wei Zhe would act shamelessly. That was a large sum of essence crystals. If it were him, he would also renege on the debt. Looking at Fang Yuanzi beside him, Hong Jijun asked, "Deputy Dean Fang, is what Brother Ningyu said true?" "That's right. Wei Zhe lost the bet but didn't want to fulfill it. I saw it with my own eyes." Fang Yuanzi had long been unhappy with Wei Zhe. In the past, he did not dare to say much due to Wei Zhe's powerful strength. However, when he saw that a student like Ningyu dared to go against Wei Zhe, he also threw caution to the wind. He said coldly, "As an elder of the Sacred Institute, if he doesn't fulfill his promise, it won't just be him losing face, but the entire Sacred Institute's face." "Yi Tian, you heard it too?" Elder Wei did indeed lose the bet. "Could it be that you want to return these essence crystals on behalf of Elder Wei?" Hong Jijun said with a smile. A mere few million top-grade essence crystals is nothing to me, Yi Tian." With a cold snort, Yi Tian casually threw a storage bag at Ningyu. Looking at the storage bag that kept approaching him, Ningyu was slightly surprised, because he discovered that there was a violent soul force fluctuation on the storage bag. Moreover, that soul force fluctuation had reached the peak of grade 4. Yi Tian did not want to hand over the essence crystals willingly. Instead, he wanted to teach him a lesson. Hong Jijun naturally discovered the soul force fluctuation on the storage bag. However, he did not make a move. He also wanted to see how strong Ningyu's strength was and whether he was worthy of being his friend. "How dare you use your hands to grab the storage bag? You don't know the immensity of heaven and earth." The most depressed person at the scene was naturally Wei Zhe. In the Sacred Institute, His status was indeed second only to Dongfangji. He was an existence who could summon the wind and summon the rain. However, no matter how amazing a person was, there would always be people who could restrain him. Yi Tian and Hong Jijun were both amazing people that he did not dare to offend. Yi Tian had Alchemy King Danshenzi behind him, while Hong Jijun had the hidden old monster of Danwu College behind him. Either one of them had stronger backing than him. Ever since Yi Tian and Hong Jijun appeared, he went from being the center of attention to becoming a supporting character. He was even inferior to Ningyu. Yi Tian mastered a kind of soul attack spell. As long as your hand comes into contact with his soul force, your skin will be corroded away. Wei Zhe seemed to be able to see the miserable state of Ningyu's palm turning into white bones. The corners of his mouth involuntarily curled up, curling into a hint of a smile. Peak Grade 4 Soul Force Fluctuation, huh? Chapter 291. Buzz. Just as the soul-severing sword was about to touch the storage bag, a powerful soul ripple shot out from the storage bag and attacked the soul-severing sword. Ningyu was clearly prepared for this. With a thought, he controlled the soul-severing sword to suddenly accelerate, avoiding Yi Tian's soul ripple and stabbing at the storage bag. Whoosh! The soul-severing sword was a heaven-rank flying sword. The moment it touched the storage bag, it was pierced. Whoosh! The storage bag was filled with many origin crystals. As soon as it was pierced, a large amount of origin crystals fell out. Ningyu reacted quickly and arrived before the storage bag in an instant. With a wave of his hand, the origin crystals, including the storage bag, were all stored in a storage ring that he had prepared beforehand. A storage ring. Yi Tian didn't care about the storage bag being pierced. However, when he saw the storage ring in Ningyu's hand, his expression finally changed, and an expression of shock appeared in his eyes. The quality of this storage ring can't be too low, Yi Tian muttered with a slight frown. Ningyu probed the storage ring with his soul power and slightly checked the number of crystals inside. He nodded with satisfaction. The origin crystals are just right. We're even now. Ningyu's figure flashed and appeared in front of Yan Hui, intending to take him away. Ningyu, I want to see Wan Er. However, Yan Hui didn't seem to want to leave. He gritted his teeth and said, If I don't see Wan Er today, I won't leave. Looks like he's an infatuated man, Hong Jijun said. It's fortunate that he likes Meng Wan. Meng Wan is also a bitter person. Seeing Ningyu's doubtful expression, Hong Jijun sighed and slowly said, Meng Wan's talent in alchemy is very high. She's ranked 8th on the Sacred Institute's alchemy ranking. It's just that. Hong Jijun sighed and continued, She's blind. A blind man? Ningyu was taken aback. For Yan Hui to be so infatuated with a blind man, he was indeed a rare man. Hong Jijun continued, It's a little difficult for Yan Hui to meet Meng Wan. Ningyu asked, What's the problem? Let me tell you what the difficulties are. Right at this moment, Yi Tian lightly smiled and said, Since the age of 3, Meng Wan has been following my master. Until now, an entire 17 years have passed. Just a week ago, my master had already betrothed Meng Wan to me. Yan Hui wants to see my future wife. Do you think there's any difficulty? Bah! Yi Tian, Wan'er doesn't like you at all. Stop daydreaming. Wan'er said that even if I die, I won't marry you. Yan Hui seemed to have gained some strength as he scolded loudly. Ningyu fell into deep thought. This matter was indeed somewhat difficult to handle. He definitely couldn't use force because that old fart, Wei Zhe, was watching. Once he used force, he definitely wouldn't sit idly by. Since he couldn't use force, then he could only use another method. Ningyu rolled his eyes and said, Yi Tian, you said that Meng Wan is your future wife. Words are no proof. Why don't you call Meng Wan out and confront her face to face? If I call her out just because you want me to, wouldn't it be very embarrassing? Pursing his lips, Yi Tian said coldly, "Today, I'll say it here. As long as I'm here, you guys can forget about seeing Meng Wan?" Before Yi Tian's voice faded, his eyes widened, because he saw a graceful figure slowly walking over from not far away. The girl was around 20 years old. Her jet-black hair fell on both sides of her shoulders, and her eyes were bright. "Waner." Yan Hui abruptly shook off Ning Yu's arm and ran towards the girl. "Courting death." Seeing this, Yi Tian secretly cursed and immediately rose from the ground. His palm carried a gust of yuan qi and blasted towards Yan Hui. Swoosh! From the corner of his eye, Ning Yu had been watching Yi Tian. The moment Yi Tian made his move, he rushed out and blocked in front of Yi Tian. He threw out a backhand punch which collided with Yi Tian's fist. Bang! When the two fists collided, Yi Tian was forced back several steps before he could stabilize himself. "Ning Yu, don't think that I don't dare to touch you," Yi Tian said coldly after he stabilized himself. Yi Tian was ranked in the top 20 on the Sacred Institute's combat list. In terms of martial arts cultivation alone, he was no match for Ning Yu. If Ning Yu hadn't held back with that punch just now, he would have already been seriously injured. "Why are you interfering with a young couple's reunion?" Ning Yu didn't care about Yi Tian's reprimand and said calmly. "What young couple? Meng Wan is my fiancé. Be more respectful with your words," Yi Tian said angrily. "Yi Tian, aren't you ashamed? Look at how intimate the young couple is." "She doesn't look like your fiancé at all," Hong Jijun said as he watched the show. "Hong Jijun, no one will think you're mute if you don't speak," Yi Tian said coldly. Hearing Yi Tian's words, Hong Jijun shrugged and didn't comment. His original intention was to go against Yi Tian. No matter what Yi Tian did, he had to interfere. He couldn't let Yi Tian have it easy. Next to him, Wei Zhe took a step forward and said in a deep voice, "Ning Yu, this is the older students' battle arena. Now that your battle is over, hurry up and get back to the new students' area." Hearing this, Ning Yu's eyes narrowed. He suppressed the anger in his heart and said, "Wei Zhe, is there a rule in the Sacred Institute that new students can't compete in the older students' battle arena?" Wei Zhe said coldly, "There was no such rule in the past, but there is now. If you don't leave, don't blame me for being rude." As he said, Wei Zhe's middle-stage essence core aura erupted once more. Wei Zhe felt that the opportunity had come. The last time he fought with Ning Yu, he did not gain the upper hand. This time, he must get back at him. "Leave then, no big deal. I don't want to stay here either." Ning Yu did not continue arguing with Wei Zhe. Instead, he walked straight to Yan Hui's side and said, "Come, go back to the new students' area. We're not welcome here." "But," Yan Hui said rather anxiously. Ning Yu waved his hand and said, "Meng Wan can go to the new students' area with us. The older students' area doesn't welcome new students. The new students' area is still more welcoming to older students." "Great." Yan Hui revealed a look of joy. "You can't go anywhere." Wei Zhe took a step out and blocked in front of Ning Yu and Yan Hui, and said gloomily, "Older students can't go to the new students' area either." This opportunity to suppress Ning Yu was seriously too rare. Wei Zhe naturally did not wish to give it up. If he let Ning Yu return to the new students' area and enter the Dan Wu pool to cultivate for 6 hours, Wei Zhe did not dare to imagine to what extent Ning Yu's strength would increase to. The current Ning Yu's strength was already extremely terrifying until he was only slightly stronger than Ning Yu. One could imagine that in another few days, after Ning Yu came out of the Dan Wu pool, he would not be Ning Yu's match anymore. Chapter 292. Defeat you? Defeat Yi Tian? Ning Yu revealed an exaggerated expression and immediately said, "Not interested. I entered Danwu College to cultivate, not to fight with some random cat or dog." "Who are you calling a cat, and who are you calling a dog?" Wei Zhe immediately displayed the aura of a middle-stage Yuan Dan cultivator, abruptly pressuring Ningyu. If some people insist on taking it as their own, I have nothing to say. Ningyu's illusory golden Dan surged out with Yuan Qi. While resisting Wei Zhe's pressure, he coldly said, I still have a lot of things to do, I don't have time to waste with you guys here. There were 2 reasons why Ningyu entered Danwu College. The first was to obtain first place in the freshman assessment and obtain a promise from Dongfang Ji. The second was to enter the Danwu pool and strive to advance to the middle stage of the true martial realm. Now that Dongfang Ji had already obtained his promise, the next step was to enter the Danwu pool to cultivate. There were still 4 days before Wen Yi and Lu Wei's wedding. Ningyu had to meet the Red Devil and the Dark Emperor before their wedding to discuss countermeasures. He had no choice but to waste so much time here. He couldn't just stand by and watch the matter between Yang Yu and Yan Hui. Ningyu, let's have a competition of alchemy. Right at this moment, Yi Tian solemnly said, let's compete in refining a 3-mark pill. Whoosh. Hearing Yi Tian's words, Wei Zhe suddenly retracted his aura and echoed, your level of refining a 3-mark pill isn't low either. As long as you can beat Yi Tian in refining a 3-mark pill, I will allow you to leave with Meng Wan. The corner of Yi Tian's mouth rose and he continued, Elder Wei is right. If you can beat me, not only will I let you take Meng Wan away, I will also personally cancel the engagement with Meng Wan. Yi Tian, my hands are also itching. Why don't we have an alchemy competition first? Hong Jijun had said that he would take care of Ningyu. Now that Wei Zhe and Yi Tian were making things difficult for Ningyu, he naturally had to step forward. 3-mark Dan is not your best Dan. In my opinion, it would be better for us to refine true martial Dan. Isn't Hong Jijun too arrogant? In the Sacred Institute, if Yi Tian claims to be the second best at refining true martial pellets, no one would dare to claim to be the first. That's understandable. Even the freak who ranks first on the Sacred Institute's Dan list isn't as good at refining true martial Dan as Yi Tian. Could it be that Hong Jijun's alchemy skills have improved? It's hard to say, but it's possible. Hearing that Hong Jijun was going to compete with Yi Tian in refining the true martial Dan, the surrounding students began to whisper. Because Yi Tian's level of refining true martial Dan was just too high, even some grade 5 alchemists were not as good as him. Now that Hong Jijun wanted to compete with Yi Tian in refining the Dan, one had to admit that it was indeed very arrogant. Hong Jijun, don't say that I didn't give you a chance. I will let you refine the true martial Dan first. Yi Tian shouted, who has the herbs for refining the true martial Dan? I do. Di Quan hurriedly handed over a storage bag, which contained more than 10 sets of herbs for refining the true martial Dan. Yi Tian, this is what you said. Hong Jijun did not hesitate and directly picked up a set of herbs for refining the true martial Dan. With a flick of his wrist, he threw the alchemy furnace that he carried with him into the air. At the same time, Hong Jijun threw the herbs into the alchemy furnace and began to refine the true martial Dan. Looking at the alchemy furnace in the air, Ningyu murmured, this alchemy furnace should be ranked in the top 200 of the alchemy furnace Earth list. Hong Jijun's alchemy furnace was a bit special. It was not round, but conical. The conical side was the bottom of the alchemy furnace, and the round side was the top of the alchemy furnace. This alchemy furnace seemed to be unevenly heated, but in fact it was not. Under the control of soul power, this kind of alchemy furnace was very evenly heated, and refining the Dan was also twice the result with half the effort. Whoosh! 5 minutes later, Yi Tian picked up a set of herbs for refining the true martial Dan and slowly sorted them. Then, with a flick of his wrist, Yi Tian threw a square alchemy furnace above his head. Looking at Yi Tian's alchemy furnace, Ningyu was slightly surprised, because he found that the square alchemy furnace above Yi Tian's head was of very high quality. Even if it was not as good as his quenching alchemy furnace, it was not too far off. This alchemy furnace should be ranked in the top 100 of the alchemy furnace Earth list. Taking a deep breath, Ningyu said solemnly. Yi Tian and Hong Jijun's soul power had reached the peak of grade 4, and their alchemy level was superb. Coupled with the assistance of a good alchemy furnace, refining the true martial Dan was naturally very fast. Only half an hour had passed, and Hong Jijun and Yi Tian had reached the stage of extracting the medicinal liquid at the same time. At this speed, it would not be long before the two of them would be able to refine the true martial Dan. Yi Tian and Hong Jijun are worthy of being ranked second and third on the Sacred Institute's alchemy list. They are so fast at refining the true martial Dan. The two of them are about the same speed at refining the true martial Dan. They should be finished at the same time. That's right. Now let's see who can refine the higher quality true martial Dan. Hearing the words around him, Ningyu's head shook imperceptibly. Others might not be able to see it, but he knew that Yi Tian would definitely refine the true martial Dan one step ahead of Hong Jijun. This discovery made him very surprised. It should be noted that Yi Tian had started refining 5 minutes later than Hong Jijun, and 5 minutes later, he had refined the true martial Dan one step ahead of Hong Jijun. It was conceivable that in terms of refining the true martial Dan, Yi Tian was much better than Hong Jijun. Ningyu. Next to him, Yan Hui was a little worried. He gritted his teeth and said, "If you can't do it, you leave first. Even if I am seriously injured, I will take 1 away." Fight? What do you have to fight with them? Ningyu was a little speechless. He said, "With your Xiantian level cultivation? With the strength of your peak 3rd grade soul force? Or," Ningyu paused and continued, "with your injured master?" Being reprimanded by Ningyu, Yan Hui's face was a little red, and he was speechless for a long time. Indeed, compared to Yi Tian, he had no advantage. His cultivation was not high, his soul force was not strong, and his background was not powerful. The only advantage he had was that Meng Wan liked him. "Don't worry. Since I am involved in this matter, I will take care of it to the end." Looking at Meng Wan, Ningyu said to Yan Hui, "What you need to do now is to think about how to improve your strength in the future and protect Meng Wan." With Ningyu's eyesight, he had already discovered that Meng Wan's soul force was at the early 4th grade, and her cultivation was at the early stage of the true martial realm. Yan Hui was weaker than Yi Tian, but he was completely suppressed by Meng Wan. How could he protect Meng Wan? It was obviously bullshit. "I will." Holding Meng Wan's hand, Yan Hui secretly made up his mind. He must cultivate well and strive to improve his strength as soon as possible. Bang! At this moment, Yi Tian suddenly patted the cauldron, and a Dan suddenly flew out from the square cauldron. Bang! Chapter 293. Hong Jijun lost. Ningyu murmured when he saw the pellets flying out of the furnace. Ningyu, both Hong Jijun and Yi Tian have refined true martial pellets, and the quality is high grade. How do you know Hong Jijun lost? Yan Hui asked. Although the quality of the elixirs has reached high grade, the elixirs in Yi Tian's hands are slightly better. Ningyu explained, because Yi Tian's true martial pellets are infinitely close to supreme grade true martial pellets. Supreme grade true martial pellets. Yan Hui's heart skipped a beat. His eyes were filled with shock. Although the true martial pellet was only a 4th grade pellet, it was relatively difficult to refine. Especially supreme grade true martial pellets, they were extremely rare. It could be said that out of 10 4th grade alchemists, there might not be one who could refine a supreme grade true martial pellet. Don't be discouraged. Everything has to be done slowly, one step at a time. Seeing that Yan Hui was a little down and out, Ningyu comforted him. Your talent is not much lower than Yi Tian's. As long as you work hard, your achievements in the future will not be any lower than Yi Tian's. I know. Taking a deep breath, Yen Hui's eyes were filled with determination. Hong Jijun, you lost. At that moment, Yi Tian took back the square furnace, waved the true martial pellet in his hand, and said lightly, "Not only did I refine the true martial pellet before you, but the quality of the true martial pellet is also higher than yours. It is not a shame that you lost. Yi Tian, don't be so proud. You won't be so lucky next time." Hong Jijun was not a sore loser, so he said coldly. Just as I expected, Hong Jijun was defeated by Yi Tian. Yi Tian is second on the Sacred Institute's alchemy list, and Hong Jijun is third. It is reasonable that Yi Tian won. Hong Jijun is straightforward. A loss is a loss. He can afford to lose. Hearing the discussion around him, Yi Tian's face was expressionless. He turned around and said to Ningyu, "True martial pellet or 3-mark pellet, you choose." Yi Tian, why don't you challenge Ningyu to a martial arts competition? Instead, you want to compete with him in alchemy? Hong Jijun's expression was a little ugly as he hurriedly asked. In Hong Jijun's opinion, even he had lost to Yi Tian. Ningyu definitely had no chance at all. He had heard that Ningyu had become a core disciple and had defeated Su Shan, who was ranked third on the Sacred Institute combat rankings. Since he couldn't compete with Yi Tian in alchemy, why not get back at him in martial arts? Alchemy Dao's Yi Tian, I'll fight. Martial Dao, I'll fight. Wei Zhe stepped forward and said coldly. Elder Wei, I'm afraid it's not good for you to attack Ningyu, right? Hong Jijun hesitated. As an elder of the Sacred Institute, it would damage the Sacred Institute's reputation if word got out that he attacked a core disciple. What reputation? As long as no one says anything about what happened today, no one will know, Wei Zhe said in a low voice. Besides, I'm just sparring with Ningyu. Even if word got out, no one would say anything about it. You. Hong Jijun was a little angry. The current situation was clearly Wei Zhe and Yi Tian teaming up to suppress Ningyu, and they still made it sound so dignified. Brother Hong, isn't it just an alchemy competition? It's not a big deal. Just agree to it. Ningyu interrupted Hong Jijun and said, I have a special characteristic. I don't fight with others for no reason. What do you mean? Yi Tian frowned. Sake. A competition must have some stakes for it to be interesting. The corner of Ningyu's mouth curled up. He seemed to have a card up his sleeve. What are we betting? Yi Tian asked with interest. After pondering for a moment, Ningyu said, You've lost most of your origin crystals. In my opinion, let's bet on that square alchemy furnace of yours. If you want to bet on my square alchemy furnace, you need to be able to take out a corresponding stake, Yi Tian said calmly. It's just a broken alchemy furnace. I'll pay 1 million origin crystals. With a wave of his hand, Ningyu took out a storage pouch and said generously, A square alchemy furnace like yours can be bought with 1 million origin crystals. You've made a profit. Ah. Yi Tian threw his head back and laughed as if he had heard the funniest joke in the world. Very soon, his expression changed and he said coldly, Supreme-grade origin crystals are not attractive to me at all. I want that spatial ring in your hand. That won't do. My storage ring is much more precious than your alchemy furnace, Ningyu said. You want to get something for nothing? How can there be such a good thing in this world? What if I add another 1 million origin crystals? Yi Tian said solemnly. Ningyu shook his head. 2 million. Ningyu shook his head again. 5 million. Ningyu still shook his head and said, Supreme-grade origin crystals are also not attractive to me. Gritting his teeth, Yi Tian said solemnly, I haven't entered the Dan Marshall pool to cultivate this month. As long as you can defeat me, I'll give you the 1 hour in the Dan Marshall pool. Whoosh. Yi Tian's words immediately caused a huge commotion in the surroundings. The Dan Marshall pool was the best cultivation ground in the Sacred Institute. Even a martial artist like Yi Tian, who was ranked in the top 3 of the Sacred Institute's alchemy roll, could only enter for 2 hours every month. Everyone was very shocked that Yi Tian was willing to take out his time as a stake. That's the Dan Marshall pool. If I can cultivate inside for 2 hours, I can definitely advance to the middle stage of the true martial realm. An early stage true martial realm martial artist had a look of yearning. Humph. If I were to enter and cultivate for an hour, I would have long advanced to peak grade 3 alchemist. A middle stage grade 3 alchemist student snorted coldly. The one who was the most shocked was Hong Jijun. Among the martial artists present, no one was clearer than him about the heaven-defying aspects of the Dan Marshall pool. This was because he had already cultivated in the Dan Marshall pool for a very long time. What's so special about that storage ring of Ning Yu's that could make Yi Tian act like this? While being shocked, Hong Jijun was also curious. After all, he understood Yi Tian very well. If it wasn't for something heaven-defying, Yi Tian wouldn't joke around with the time he spent in the Dan Marshall pool. If he failed miserably, the gains would not make up for the losses. Sure, Ning Yu nodded. Swish. As Ning Yu's voice faded, Yi Tian flicked his sleeve, and a black token appeared in his hand. Defeat me, and this token belongs to you. Looking at the black token in Yi Tian's hand, Ning Yu hesitated and said, I can enter the Dan Marshall pool with this token? That's right. As long as you hold this token, the Dan Marshall pool will be opened to you unconditionally within this month, Yi Tian explained. Since that's the case, let's not waste any more time. Let's start refining the true martial pill now. Ning Yu was a little anxious as he said, when the alchemy battles are over, I want to go to the Dan Marshall pool to take a look. If you want to go to the Dan Marshall pool, you have to win first. With a cold snort, Yi Tian casually tossed a set of ingredients to Ning Yu, then sat cross-legged and immediately started refining the true martial pill. Seeing this, Ning Yu didn't hesitate at all. Chapter 294. Seeing Ning Yu's actions, the surrounding martial artists could not help but twitch their mouth. Did Ning Yu think he was refining a 3-mark pill? He even dared to use this kind of refining method. One had to know that the true martial pill was a 4th-grade medicinal pill, which was a whole grade higher than the 3-mark pill. Moreover, compared to the 3-mark pill, the true martial pill was extremely difficult to refine. Using the same method, Ning Yu could refine a 3-mark pill, but he might not be able to refine the true martial pill. Humph! How arrogant and ignorant! Beside him, Di Quan snorted coldly. Refining the true martial pill must be done carefully. There cannot be any mistakes in every step. A little carelessness and the refining will fail. Ning Yu is seeking his own death by doing this. Having lost to Ning Yu in refining the 3-mark pill, Di Quan had always harbored resentment in his heart. He suffered from not having a chance to spar with Ning Yu again. Although Ning Yu was competing with Yi Tian in refining the true martial pill, it did not stop him from mocking Ning Yu. The true martial pill is a 4th-grade medicinal pill. Even I dare not use this kind of refining method. Ning Yu is indeed seeking his own death by doing this. Wei Zhe nodded and said. Just like Di Quan, Wei Zhe also harbored resentment towards Ning Yu. In his heart, Ning Yu was already a dead man. No one in the world could save Ning Yu. As long as Ning Yu dared to leave Danwu College, he would find a way to kill Ning Yu. Only Ning Yu's death could relieve the hatred in his heart. The true martial pill is a 4th-grade medicinal pill. Could Ning Yu? Looking at Ning Yu's actions, Fang Yuanzi frowned and murmured, can he really refine it? Ning Yu gave Fang Yuanzi too many shocks. First, he left a mark on the 7th layer of the stone steel and activated the crystal ball at the top layer of the stone steel. Then, he easily refined a peak-grade condensing pill. After that, Ning Yu defeated Yu Shan and gained the upper hand against Zhang Tianwen. This series of events made Fang Yuanzi very confident in Ning Yu. Ning Yu's alchemy method is quite unique, but I don't know if he can refine the true martial Dan. Frowning, Hong Jijun also wanted to see if Ning Yu could refine the true martial Dan. Chi. At this moment, Yi Tian, who was at the side, had already thrown all the medicinal ingredients into the pill furnace and began to increase the heat. At this rate, Yi Tian would be able to enter the final round of pill formation in another 10 minutes. On the other side, Ning Yu turned his head to look at Yi Tian's actions. Then, without any regard for the consequences, he directly threw all the remaining medicinal ingredients into the quenching furnace. Is Ning Yu an idiot? This is ridiculous. He is clearly fooling around. Definitely fooling around. In my opinion, Ning Yu knows that he can't defeat senior brother Yi Tian, so he has already given up. Senior brother Yi Tian deserves to be ranked second on the Sacred Institute's alchemy list. In the Sacred Institute, I'm afraid only the freak who ranks first on the alchemy list can surpass him in alchemy. Seeing Ning Yu's crazy actions, the surrounding students finally burst into an uproar. This time, they no longer whispered, but discussed loudly. Surprisingly, everyone's opinion was the same. Ning Yu would definitely lose. He had no hope of winning. You want to keep up with my speed? It's not that easy. The corner of Yi Tian's mouth was lifted into an arc as he laughed faintly. Immediately, the peak grade 4 spiritual strength within his body poured out and suddenly entered the square-shaped pill furnace. Clatter! As soon as Yi Tian's peak 4th grade soul force entered the pill furnace, it crazily suppressed the medicinal liquid. Not long after, a prototype of an elixir appeared in the square pill furnace. Ning Yu, I will be done in 5 minutes. You have to speed up. While suppressing the liquid with his soul force, Yi Tian did not forget to remind Ning Yu. Swoosh! Hearing that, Ning Yu suddenly threw the quenching pill furnace into the air, and then, under everyone's surprised gazes, he slowly walked towards Yi Tian. What's going on? Did Ning Yu give up on refining the true martial elixir? I don't know, but it's very likely that he gave up. Otherwise, he wouldn't be walking towards Yi Tian. He must be going over to admit defeat. Ignoring the discussions in the surroundings, Ning Yu walked up to Yi Tian's side a moment later. He first looked at Yi Tian's square pill furnace, and then Ning Yu said lightly, "Your pill furnace is not bad, but what?" Yi Tian was puzzled. "Nothing. I just wanted to tell you that this pill furnace will be mine later. You have to be careful. Don't break my pill furnace." Shrugging, Ning Yu turned around and left. Looking at Ning Yu's back, Yi Tian was dumbfounded. How could there be such an arrogant person in the world? The competition was not over yet, and Yi Tian was already thinking about his square pill furnace. Buzz. Suddenly, Yi Tian's expression changed. He hurriedly controlled his soul force to suppress the medicinal liquid in the square pill furnace. A minute later, Yi Tian let out a long breath. That was close. If he hadn't reacted in time, the true martial elixir would have ended in failure. Ning Yu, you better prepare your storage ring, because I will be refining the true martial elixir in 3 minutes. Yi Tian said coldly after coming back to his senses. It's okay. 3 minutes is enough for me. His right hand reached into the air and grabbed the pill furnace. Ning Yu closed his eyes and sat down cross-legged. In fact, Ning Yu didn't go to Yi Tian to mock him, nor to disturb his pill refining. He just wanted to see what grade of true martial elixir Yi Tian was going to refine. With Ning Yu's pill refining skills, refining a supreme grade true martial elixir would be a piece of cake. But Ning Yu didn't plan to do that. If he refined a supreme grade true martial elixir here, it would cause a huge sensation. So you are refining a high-grade true martial elixir. In that case, I only need to refine a supreme grade true martial elixir. All of a sudden, Ning Yu's mind moved, and he suddenly quenched the pill furnace. Swish, swish, swish. In the next second, 3 drops of crystal-clear liquid flew out of the pill furnace. After removing these 3 drops, the final true martial elixir should be a supreme grade 1. Ningyu mumbled to himself as he flicked his sleeve and smashed the 3 drops of liquid. Ha ha, Ningyu's head is really rusty. Only now did he realize that there is a problem with the ingredient. Seeing Ningyu's actions, Diquan couldn't help but laugh. Yi Tian is about to form the elixir. Wei Zhe looked at Yi Tian and said in a low voice, "Pa." As soon as Wei Zhe finished speaking, Yi Tian suddenly stood up and slapped the pill furnace with his right hand. Done. However, before the true martial elixir in the square pill furnace came out, Ningyu stood up from the ground and grabbed the lid of the pill furnace with his right hand. At the same time, Ningyu's left hand reached into the pill furnace and grabbed a pill that was emitting a faint black mist in front of everyone's shocked eyes. True martial elixir. Looking at the elixir in Ningyu's hand, everyone was dumbfounded. They couldn't believe their eyes at all. Ningyu had refined the true martial elixir before Yi Tian. Chapter 295. A True Martial Pill. Looking at the pill in Ningyu's hand, everyone's expression was so wonderful that it could be made into a big emoji pack. They had thought that Ningyu could refine a true martial pill, but who would have thought that Ningyu had not only refined a true martial pill, but also reached the highest grade? Gulp! Someone swallowed a mouthful of saliva, and the quiet square suddenly became noisy. How did Ningyu do it? How would I know? I guess it was a blind cat. A blind cat bumping into a dead mouse? Why don't you try it for me? That's a true martial pill. Even a 5th-grade alchemist may not be able to refine one in such a short time. Is Ningyu a 5th-grade alchemist? Thinking of this, everyone looked at Ningyu differently. If Ningyu was really a 5th-grade alchemist, he would have a chance to compete with that freak for the first place in the next competition. Damn it! At the same time, Yi Tian slammed his hand on the furnace and grabbed the true martial pill out. Yi Tian also refined a true martial pill. Let's see what grade it is. According to my guess, Yi Tian should be refining the supreme grade true martial pill. Almost. Yi Tian is the 2nd on the Sacred Institute's alchemy list. If Ningyu can refine a true martial pill, he can definitely do it. Now both of them have refined a true martial pill. Who will win? Of course it will be Ningyu. After all, Ningyu refined a true martial pill before Yi Tian. What? While many martial artists were talking about it, Yi Tian unwillingly opened his hand. Seeing the slightly black elixir in Yi Tian's hand, the shock on everyone's face was no less than when Ningyu refined the top-grade true martial elixir. Because the true martial pill in Yi Tian's hand was only a high-grade one. By now, the result was obvious. Yi Tian refined a high-grade true martial dan, and Ningyu refined a top-grade true martial dan. Naturally, Ningyu won without a doubt. High-grade true martial dan? Seeing the dan in Yi Tian's hand, Diquan and Wei Zhe were the most shocked. They had never imagined that Yi Tian would lose so thoroughly. Ningyu not only refined the true martial dan one step ahead of Yi Tian, but the quality of the true martial dan was also higher than Yi Tian's. The shock of the surrounding martial artists was already within Ningyu's expectations. With a flick of his wrist, he threw the supreme grade true martial pill towards Yi Tian. But Yi Tian raised his head and looked at the true martial pill that was approaching him. A cold light shot out of his eyes and shattered the true martial pill. Let's go. With a cold snort, Yi Tian turned around and prepared to leave. Whoosh! However, just as Yi Tian moved, Ningyu dashed out and blocked in front of him. Extending his palm, Ningyu said indifferently, "It's time to return my square-shaped cauldron to me. You." Yi Tian clenched his fists so hard that cracking sounds could be heard. His face was ashen. "Here you go. I hope you take good care of it. In the next Sacred Institute's alchemy ranking competition, I will take it back." Yi Tian said gloomily as he threw the square-shaped cauldron to Ningyu. Catching the cauldron, Ningyu directly put it into his storage ring. That's hard to say. I'm a little tight on money recently. I might sell it at any time. Just wait and see. Leaving a ruthless remark, Yi Tian turned around and left. Ningyu once again blocked his way. Yi Tian, haven't you forgotten something? Ningyu said with a smile. The black token to enter the Danwu pool. At this moment, Hong Jijun came over and said, There are so many people watching. Don't tell me you want to go back on your word? Hearing this, Yi Tian unleashed his aura, on the verge of exploding. He could give up on the square-shaped cauldron, but the black token was his proof to enter the Danwu pool. No matter what, he didn't want to give it to Ningyu. Ningyu, don't go too far, Yi Tian said coldly. I'm going too far? Pointing at his own nose, Ningyu said with a smile, You lost a bet to me, but you're not willing to fulfill your promise. Instead, you're saying that I'm going too far? Right, I wonder what Dan Shenzi would think if he were to learn of this matter. Shrugging his shoulders, Ningyu continued. Fine. I'll give it to you. Hearing Ningyu's words, Yi Tian's eyes shone with undisguised killing intent. He reached into his pocket and took out the black token. Swoosh. After handing the black token to Ningyu, Yi Tian didn't linger and directly left the plaza. Senior brother Yi Tian, wait for me. Seeing Yi Tian leave, Dequan didn't dare to linger and quickly followed. Whoosh. After Big Brother left, the surrounding martial artists immediately dispersed. As long as they were from Yi Tian's faction, not a single one was left. Awesome. This is too awesome. Seeing Yi Tian fleeing like a stray dog, Hong Jijun was very excited. Old brother Ningyu, why don't you go have a few drinks with me? Hong Jijun said to Ningyu. Waving his hand, Ningyu said, Brother Hong, I want to go take a look at the Danwu pool. I'll treat you to a few drinks some other day. Sure. I haven't used any time this month. Let's go to the Danwu pool together, Hong Jijun said after pondering for a moment. All right. Allow me to send Yen Hui and the rest back first. Ningyu didn't refuse. After all, he didn't know much about the Danwu pool. With Hong Jijun following, he could have someone explain it to him for free. Send them back? Ningyu, our battle in the martial Dao hasn't begun yet. Right at this moment, Wei Zhe took a stride forward and spoke coldly. Martial duel with you? Ningyu was stunned, then said, When did I agree to have a martial duel with you? Is there something wrong with your head because you're getting old? There's something wrong with your head. Wei Zhe snorted coldly. Today, you must have a martial duel with me and defeat me. Otherwise, you can't go anywhere. Wei Zhe was very domineering. As soon as he finished speaking, he displayed the aura of a mid-stage primal core cultivator and pressed down on Ningyu. Seeing this, Ningyu was also a little angry. Wei Zhe was too much. 1. With a cold expression, Ningyu secretly circulated the spirit transformation technique, and the Yuan Qi in his sea of consciousness gushed out. Swoosh. Immediately, Ningyu took out the Absolute Soul Sword and held it in his hand. With the Absolute Soul Sword in his hand, Ningyu rose from the ground and rushed toward Wei Zhe at a shocking speed. Absolute Sword Wave. Just as he was about to reach Wei Zhe, Ningyu stabbed out several times. Instantly, several shocking sword waves formed and approached Wei Zhe from all directions. Insignificant tricks. Feeling the majestic sword waves around him, Wei Zhe's heart skipped a beat. However, he didn't show it on his face. Instead, he snorted coldly, and the golden core in his sea of consciousness suddenly sprang out and floated above his head. I'll let you see the true strength of a mid-stage primal core cultivator. Swoosh, 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 swoosh. Chapter 296. Pust. The moment the Yuan Qi light beam and the absolute sword wave collided, there was an explosive sound. Wei Zhe was a genuine mid-primal core warrior, and his golden core was much stronger than the illusory golden core. The Yuan Qi light beam that shot out from it was very powerful. Although the Absolute Sword Wave was the fifth form of the Nine Purities Supreme Sword technique, and Ningyu had added a lot of Yuan Qi into it, it did not gain any advantage in the face of the powerful Yuan Qi light beam. Kaboom! Following that, another earth-shattering roar sounded in the area. Swoosh! Accompanying the earth-shattering roar was the sound of friction between the speeding Wei Zhe and the air. A mid-primal core warrior is indeed terrifying. Having failed to gain any advantage from the first attack, Ningyu immediately retreated. The illusory armor appeared on the surface of his skin, and his speed increased dramatically. However, Ningyu did not completely retreat. After he had pulled away from Wei Zhe, his eyes turned cold, and his pinnacle fourth-grade soul power poured out. His hands moved quickly in midair, and in an instant, a palm print that was almost solid suddenly appeared and blasted towards Wei Zhe's face. Ghostly Samsara Palm, fourth form, Dark Dominating Palm. In the instant that the Dark Dominating Palm attacked, Ningyu gritted his teeth, and the Yuan Qi in his consciousness gathered on his right palm. Together with the Dark Dominating Palm, he blasted it towards Wei Zhe. Ningyu knew that although the Dark Dominating Palm was a soul attack technique, it would not have much effect on a warrior like Wei Zhe, who had a strong soul power. In other words, Wei Zhe would definitely be able to dodge or even disperse the Dark Dominating Palm. Crack! At this moment, Wei Zhe's lips curled up, and his pinnacle fifth-grade soul power was unleashed, pressing towards the Dark Dominating Palm. Along with a crisp sound, the Underworld Tyrant Palm seal in front of Wei Zhe abruptly shattered. Ningyu, don't think I don't know what you're doing. Not good. Wei Zhe was just about to say something after shattering the Underworld Tyrant Palm imprint when his expression changed, and he immediately retreated, because he noticed that Ningyu had suddenly arrived before him since a long time ago. Moreover, Ningyu's right palm carried along an extremely violent origin energy gale as it fiercely smashed towards his face. At such a close distance, Wei Zhe had no time to make an effective defense at all. Damn it! If I knew this would happen, I wouldn't have used all of my soul force. Wei Zhe cursed inwardly as he retreated while controlling his pinnacle fifth-grade soul force to return to his body. Soul-severing sword, go! However, as Wei Zhe retreated, Ningyu's eyes revealed a ruthless glint. Shortly after, he controlled the soul-severing sword and swept it towards Wei Zhe's soul power. The Absolute Soul Sword was a devouring flying sword that could devour a martial artist's soul force. Back in the cave, Ningyu relied on the Absolute Soul Sword and the semicircular pendant to devour Master Ling's sixth-grade soul force. Now that the semicircular pendant had basically lost its ability to devour soul force, the Absolute Soul Sword's devouring ability was still there, and it could still exercise its authority. The Absolute Soul Sword could even devour Master Ling's sixth-grade soul force, let alone Wei Zhe's pinnacle fifth-grade soul force. The powerhouses from Danwu College aren't paying attention to this place. I'll make use of this opportunity to devour your soul force. Actually, when he was using the Absolute Soul Sword, Ningyu had secretly separated a portion of his soul force to detect the surroundings. He only dared to use the Absolute Soul Sword's devouring ability after making sure that there were no hidden powerhouses around. Otherwise, it would not be worth it if the higher-ups from Danwu College noticed it. Smack! Not long after, Ningyu's palm collided with Wei Zhe's palm. Huh? Why don't I have any strength at all? Wei Zhe was a little dumbfounded when he felt the minuscule fluctuation of vitality on Ningyu's palm. He had just realized that there was a strong fluctuation of vitality on Ningyu's palm. Why did he retract all of it in an instant? Ah! Wei Zhe did not remain dumbfounded for long. He screamed in shock as he felt a piercing pain from the depths of his soul. Devour! At this moment, Ningyu had already retreated to the Absolute Soul Sword's side. He was controlling the Absolute Soul Sword to devour Wei Zhe's soul force. Ningyu, stop right now. Feeling that he was losing control of his soul force bit by bit, Wei Zhe quickly controlled his soul force to return to his body. Humph! Wei Zhe, you old fool, I'll make you pay today. Ningyu snorted coldly and sent a message to Wei Zhe using his soul force. After that, Ningyu sat down with his legs crossed. Suck! An extremely strong suction force exploded from the Absolute Soul Sword and almost instantly devoured half of Wei Zhe's soul force. Seeing this, Wei Zhe did not dare to be careless. He quickly sat down with his legs crossed like Ningyu and tried to control his soul force to return to his body. Why did they stop? I don't know. Could it be a draw? That's impossible. Elder Wei is at the intermediate stage of the primal core stage. Ningyu is definitely not his match. That's right. They should be having a soul battle. Swoosh. Almost all the students here were alchemists. Each of them had a strong soul force. They immediately unleashed their soul power, wanting to find out what was going on. Fog? Ningyu and Elder Wei are surrounded by fog. We can't see their soul battle at all. Elder Wei's soul force is at the pinnacle of the 5th grade. To be able to have a soul battle with him, could it be that Ningyu's soul force has also reached the pinnacle of the 5th grade? That's highly possible. Ningyu is able to refine a true martial pill. It should be very possible. When they realized that Ningyu's soul force might have reached the pinnacle of the 5th grade, the martial artists around looked at Ningyu differently. He had just entered the Sacred Institute and his soul force had already reached the pinnacle of the 5th grade. What would happen after a few more years of cultivation? It was likely that in 2 or 3 years, Ningyu's soul force would definitely advance to the 6th grade, or even the 7th grade. Moreover, Ningyu was still young and had a lot of room for growth. From today onwards, I'm afraid the structure of the Sacred Institute is going to change. That's right. A few years ago, Zhang Tianwen stood alone. Other than the freak who ranked first on the alchemy list of the Sacred Institute, no one could compete with him. Now that Ningyu has appeared out of nowhere, he is comparable to Zhang Tianwen. 2 of the 3 core disciples of the Sacred Institute have appeared. I wonder when Danyu, the one who made it to the 8th floor of the Ivory Tower, will arrive. Danyu? Ningyu? Could it be the same person? Waves of discussions broke out in the surroundings. From looking down on Ningyu at the beginning to shock at the end, an extremely dramatic change had occurred. Actually, it was no wonder. The shock that Ningyu gave them was simply too great. Suddenly, Wei Zhe's expression changed, and he spat out a mouthful of fresh blood, his complexion turning somewhat pale. Opposite him, Ningyu slowly stood up from the ground. Swish! With a flick of his wrist, he directly stored the Absolute Soul Sword into his storage ring. Then, Ningyu said indifferently to Wei Zhe, "Today's match ends here." As he spoke, Ningyu walked to Yan Hui's side and said, "Let's go. Follow me back to the new students' area first. There shouldn't be anyone who dares to do anything to you there. Brother Hong, follow me to the new students' area first, then we'll go to the Dan Wu pool," Ningyu turned and said to Hong Jijun. As soon as he finished speaking, Chapter 297. Looking at Ningyu's back view, the surrounding martial artists were dumbfounded. Who had won? Was it Elder Wei Zhe or core disciple Ningyu? It should be Ningyu who had defeated Elder Wei. After a while, someone said this, causing the students in the area to start discussing. That's right. In my opinion, it should be Ningyu who had won. After all, Ningyu was unharmed, while Elder Wei had vomited a mouthful of blood. I didn't expect the final victor to be Ningyu. This is unbelievable. How terrifying is Ningyu's strength to be able to defeat the intermediate primal core Elder Wei. Let's not talk about it anymore. We should hurry and leave before we get implicated. That's right, let's leave quickly. After a while, all the martial artists in the plaza had left. Not a single one was left. Now, only Wei Zhe was left in the plaza. Ningyu, I will make you pay for this. Wei Zhe clenched his fists tightly, his eyes filled with viciousness. The reason why Ningyu had won this time was because he had been careless and didn't know that Ningyu had the devouring flying sword. If he had known that Ningyu had the devouring flying sword, the result definitely wouldn't have been like this. But now that things had come to this, there was nothing he could do. However, half of his soul force had been devoured. Wei Zhe definitely had to get back at him. At the same time, Ningyu had already sent Yan Hui and Meng Wan to the new students' area and asked Fang Yuanzi to take care of them. After that, Ningyu and Hong Jijun rushed towards the Elixir Martial Pool. The Elixir Martial Pool was considered open to the martial artists of the Sacred Institute. As long as one had a token, they could enter to cultivate. On the way, Ningyu asked, "Brother Hong, is there anything special about the Elixir Martial Pool?" Ningyu didn't know much about the Elixir Martial Pool, so asking Hong Jijun was the wiser choice. Dan and Martial Pool is just a general term. Accurately speaking, it should be divided into Dan Pool and Martial Pool. Hong Jijun explained, the Elixir Pond contains a powerful and pure soul force that can be absorbed by students as they wish. As long as you absorb and refine it fast enough, you can even increase your soul force by a small rank within 2 hours. Of course, in the Sacred Institute, only the number 1 freak on the alchemy ranking of the Sacred Institute can raise his soul power by a small level in 2 hours. When I entered the Dan Pool for the first time, I only raised my soul power from the early stage to the peak of the early stage. I didn't break through to the middle stage. Ningyu was stunned. He asked doubtfully, "You raised your soul force from early stage to peak early stage rank 4 in one go. If you enter a few more times, won't it be easy for you to advance to peak rank 4? Shaking his head, Hong Jijun said, "It's easier said than done. The effects of the pill pool are the greatest the first time you enter. The effects will become weaker and weaker later on. Brother Ningyu, I advise you to enter the martial pool to cultivate this time. That way you can make the most of your 2 hours. Hong Jijun then reminded him, "You still have 6 hours. Why don't you leave it for the Dan Pool? If you work hard, you might be able to break through a small level." Compared to the Dan Pool, the martial pool contains an enormous amount of energy, and the effects are equally good every time you enter. Seeing through Ningyu's doubts, Hong Jijun explained, "If you use these 2 hours to cultivate in the martial pool, you should be able to raise your cultivation to the middle stage." After some thought, Ningyu asked, "Who's the freak who ranks first in the Sacred Institute's pill rankings?" Ningyu had heard that the student who ranked first in the Sacred Institute's pill rankings was a freak, but he had been in the middle of a battle at the time and hadn't had time to think too much about it. That freak? I'm not too sure about the specifics, because there are very few students who have seen her in the Sacred Institute. Spreading out his hands, Hong Jijun continued, "I advise you not to ask about her, because her temper is a bit odd and she's temperamental." Temperamental, Ningyu didn't want to see the freak who ranked first in the Sacred Institute's pill rankings. After all, he only had 2 things to do after entering the Sacred Institute. He didn't want to ask about anything else, nor did he want to have too much contact with her. "We're here." At this moment, Hong Jijun stopped in front of a stone door. Ningyu started and looked up. 2 old men stood on either side of the stone door. Ningyu couldn't help but suck in a sharp breath when he saw the 2 old men. He hastily hid the illusory golden core in his consciousness. Ningyu smelled an aura of extreme danger from the 2 old men. This aura was even more terrifying than the one Dongfang Ji gave off. In other words, Dongfang Ji's strength was on a completely different level from the 2 old men in front of him. Dongfang Ji was the dean of the Sacred Institute, and his cultivation base was at least at the peak of the primal core stage. Yet, the two old men in front of him were able to suppress Dongfangji. This showed that their cultivation base was probably infinitely close to the yin-yang stage. This is my token. Senior Xianming, please open the stone door. After stopping, Hong Jijun took out a black token and handed it over respectfully with both hands. Seeing this, Ningyu, like Hong Jijun, took out the token and handed it over to the two old men. Are you new? One of the old men took the token from Ningyu and asked casually. Huh. Suddenly, the old man raised his eyebrows, and his eyes revealed a hint of seriousness. What's wrong? The other old man asked curiously. Old Xian, take a look. The old man who spoke just now pointed at Ningyu. Old Ming, what's there to be surprised about, huh? The old man called Old Man Xian looked at Ningyu. Before he finished speaking, he revealed a shocked expression, just like Old Man Ming. That's strange. There's actually no cyclone. Old Xian muttered to himself. Then, he shook his head and said, No, he must have used some kind of superior concealment method to prevent us from seeing his cyclone. That's the only explanation. If there's no cyclone, then it's too abnormal, Old Ming said. That. Seeing the two old men staring at Ningyu, Hong Jijun hesitated and said, Seniors, do you think we can open the stone door now? The two old men used soul telepathy, so it was natural that Hong Jijun did not hear them. After all, the strength of Hong Jijun's soul power was much weaker than the two old men's. Slowly withdrawing their gazes, the two old men waved their hands at the same time. Suddenly, an extremely vigorous yuan qi filled the air, turning into beams of light that surged towards the stone door. Feeling the vigorous yuan qi undulations from the two old men, Ningyu's heart could not help but tremble. It seemed that he was right. The two old men's cultivation was already half a step into the yin-yang stage. Above the Yuan Dan stage was the yin-yang stage that many martial artists could not reach. Generally speaking, only by stepping into the yin-yang stage could one be considered to have officially begun to cultivate. This was because yin-yang stage martial artists could practice spatial techniques and control space to fight with their enemies. Unless it was a particularly abnormal Yuan Dan stage martial artist, one had to reach the yin-yang stage in order to practice spatial techniques and control space energy to fight against enemies. Creak. Chapter 298. After the stone door opened, the two old men walked in first. Ningyu and Hong Jijun looked at each other, then followed the old men into the stone door. Behind the stone door was a long tunnel, and there was a faint light in the tunnel. Upon closer inspection, it turned out that there were some top-grade origin crystals embedded on both sides. Not long after, the two old men stopped at a fork in the road. After stopping, Elder Xian said, Do you want to enter the elixir pool or the martial pool? Make your choice. Senior, I want to enter the elixir pool. Hong Jijun said without any hesitation. Follow me. Elder Xian glanced at Hong Jijun, then walked towards the fork in the road on the left. Senior, I want to enter the martial pool. Ningyu said respectfully. This way. Elder Ming entered the tunnel on the right. After walking for about 3 to 4 minutes, Elder Ming stopped in front of a secret room. He touched the door of the secret room for a while, and the door slowly opened. Compared to the tunnel just now, the secret room was a lot more spacious. There was a round pool in the middle of the secret room, and one could vaguely see wisps of white mist coming out of the pool. This is the martial pool. You have 2 hours to cultivate inside. Once the time is up, you will naturally be ejected. As he spoke, Elder Ming came to the front of the pool and directly threw the black token into it. Sizzle! As soon as the black token came into contact with the liquid in the pool, it made a sizzling sound and directly turned into nothingness. Senior, are you sure I can enter from here? Seeing this, Ningyu's eyes widened and his face was filled with confusion. Although the black token's material was not very good, it was still relatively hard. The liquid in the pool was able to corrode it effortlessly. If he went in, wouldn't he end up like the token? Plop! At this moment, Ning Yu's body suddenly leaned forward, and with a plop, he jumped into the martial pool. How troublesome, asking all sorts of questions. I'll wait for you outside. We'll leave together in 2 hours. After kicking Ning Yu into the pool, Elder Ming muttered a few words before walking out of the secret chamber without looking back. As he looked at Elder Ming's back, Ning Yu cursed in his heart. I must be more careful the next time I come in. I can't go out again. Ning Yu muttered softly. However, before he could finish muttering, he let out a blood-curdling scream. Hiss! A cold, piercing pain swept through Ning Yu's entire body in an instant. The sudden change made Ning Yu temporarily forget about his hatred. He immediately circulated his essence to resist the piercing cold. Buzz! After a while, the piercing pain had yet to disappear. Ning Yu sensed that there was an incredible amount of pure energy surrounding his body. Moreover, this energy was surging wildly towards his body. Let's fight. Ning Yu immediately operated the spirit transformation technique. Suddenly, the essence qi around his body entered his body at an astonishing speed. Ning Yu had already cultivated the spirit transformation technique to the 4th layer. The speed at which he absorbed the essence qi was very fast. In addition, the energy here was pure. All he needed to do was to absorb it. Therefore, Ning Yu no longer had any worries as he unscrupulously absorbed the essence qi. Now that Ning Yu was in the early stage of the true martial realm, an hour was neither long nor short. Relying on the powerful absorption ability of the spirit transformation technique, Ning Yu believed that he could definitely advance to the middle stage of the true martial realm in an hour. However, Ning Yu was not in a hurry to advance to the middle stage of the true martial realm. Instead, he controlled the pure energy into the Golden Dawn, hoping that the Golden Dawn could split again. Once the 2 Golden Dawns split into 4, his fighting strength would increase by several times. At that time, even if he didn't use his soul power, he was confident that he could fight against Wei Zhe, or even defeat him. Bang bang! As time went on, the sound of explosions came from the Golden Dawn. Split! Clenching his fists, Ning Yu bellowed and then operated the spirit transformation technique to the extreme. Bang bang! However, no matter how hard Ning Yu tried, the Golden Dawn were always on the verge of splitting and could not move forward at all. Damn it! Cursing in his heart, Ning Yu's eyes revealed a determined look. He immediately squatted down and sank to the bottom of the martial pool. You win. Outside the secret chamber, Elder Ming saw Ning Yu's actions through the gap in the door. The corner of his mouth twitched a few times as he gave Ning Yu a thumbs up. Then, as if he didn't want to see Ning Yu's miserable state, Elder Ming directly shut the door. It could be said that Elder Ming knew the martial pool like the back of his hand. Ordinary Xiantian full-cycle martial artists could not enter the martial pool to cultivate. They could only submerge their feet inside. Early-stage true martial realm martial artists had it better, but they could only float on the surface of the martial pool. As for middle-stage and late-stage true martial realm martial artists, they could already submerge the liquid in the martial pool up to their abdomens. There were only 2 students in the Sacred Institute who could submerge their entire body into the martial pool. One was Zhang Tianwen. Relying on his strong physical strength, he could submerge his entire body into the martial pool when he was in the late-stage true martial realm. The other was the freak, who ranked first on the alchemy list of the Sacred Institute. That freak's soul force was a little special, allowing her to submerge her body into the martial pool when she was in the early stage true martial realm. As for whether Ning Yu could become the 3rd student, Elder Ming did not know. But he was very clear that Ning Yu would end up in a miserable state in the end. This was because both Zhang Tianwen and the freak, who ranked first on the alchemy list, were covered in injuries when they came out of the martial pool. They only recovered after lying in bed for a month. Swoosh, swoosh. In a dense forest, two figures flew quickly. The strong airflow caused the surrounding trees to sway. If Ningyu was here, he would definitely notice that these two figures were not strangers. One was the Dark Emperor and the other was the Red Devil. However, the situation of the two was obviously not optimistic. The Dark Emperor's hair was scattered, and there was even a very obvious knife wound on his abdomen, which was shocking. The Red Devil was not much better. His aura was weak, and the killing intent on his body had long disappeared. He could only rely on his instincts and perseverance to escape. Red Skin, this time it's all my fault. I caused a big disaster. Looking back, the Dark Emperor gritted his teeth and said, I'll take care of the rear. You quickly go to the capital. As long as we find Ningyu, we still have a chance to survive. Black Dog, what nonsense are you talking about? Since I came to find you, I won't leave you alone. The Red Devil said in a deep voice, This matter can't be blamed on you. The He family's ancestor has been controlled by the experts of the corpse insect. They destroyed the He family, so it's understandable for you to chase after him. It's just that the expert of the corpse insect controlling the He family's ancestor is extremely cunning. He made a promise that if anyone can kill us, he will give the He family's property to that person. Moreover, he also took out a treasure that many people couldn't refuse. Otherwise, with the He family's small property, the second-rate family's ancestor would not personally take action. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.